PhD Chamber would work on percolation of dynamic reforms undertaken by the center at the grassroots level so that the reforms are visible and fruitful for trade, industry, and people. PhD Chamber will continue to address factory level issues through various representations to the various departments of the Government of India and state governments.
PhD-CCI provides opportunities to be a part of expert committees, task forces, wherein views of the Chamber are formulated on topical issues through deliberations in these committees or task forces and shared with the government for favorable consideration. PhD Chamber provides excellent networking opportunities with government officials, diplomats, leading names from all spheres of life, including business peers. PhD CCI has a bouquet of services to energize the industry and boost business growth. Some of them are certification services, energy audit services, Center for International Arbitration and Mediation, PCIAM, and Water Audit Center. We have been contributing in 8 thrust areas, that is, industrial development, education and skill development, infrastructure development, green energy, agribusiness and food processing, indigenization in defense manufacturing, Ayush and health and digital India.
PhD CCI envisages New India, Dream India. The next 25 years of Amrit Kal would provide great opportunities to build a new India. The economy will attain its potential growth rate of double digits, becoming the 3rd largest economy in world ecosystem. The manufacturing sector will be globally competitive and the manufacturing exports will shift from USD billions to USD trillions every year. The agriculture sector will be sufficient not only to serve the domestic population, but also will be significantly visible in the global agri and food exports. We envisage a new India where millions of jobs are created for the growing young population and socio-economic development of the nation, which is moving to a developed economy.
PhD CCI continuously contributes towards structural improvements in export and logistics infrastructure, supply chain management, and value chains of MSMEs and startups, and simplification of various export incentive schemes, with the aim to push the growth trajectory of exports to the next level. Enhancing India's export competitiveness along with catalyzing diversification of export markets have been priorities for us during the ongoing Amrit Mahotsav.
I would like to compliment PhD Chamber that they are organizing this program so that there is greater awareness. And if I can leave a little task that do seek opinion of people so that if we want to inject something better into the system, which we can.
The Chamber has been a thought leader, and more than 40% of the representations sent by the Chamber have been accepted by the government. The PhD CCI has organized more than 600 national and international events and conferences in virtual, physical, as well as hybrid modes. Some of the flagship events organized by PhD Chambers includes post-budget interactive session on implications of Union Budget 2022-23.
India shall be the fastest growing economy among the large economies. I'm sure it'll also be because you have come forward.
Second International Conference on Defense and Security in association with the Ministry of MSME Government of India. Standalone session on geopolitical spillovers and Indian economy with Dr. M.D. Patra, Deputy Governor, Reserve Bank of India.
It would be remiss of me to go further without mentioning that I have actually been in touch with the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry for almost 20 years. A figure in our survey of professional forecasters, the RBI conducts a survey of everyone who forecasts, and their work figures very prominently. Actually, they figure in what we call the fan chart. We have a fan chart around a projection which describes the balance of risks.
37th edition of Ambassadors Meet 2022 with the theme Fostering International Economic Cooperation. International Climate Summit 2022, an initiative of the Indo-Norwegian Partnership, was organized by the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Greenstat AS in Bergen, Norway, in partnership with Invest India. The India-centric summit focused especially on exploring opportunities for green hydrogen in India. The event received extensive coverage from media houses in India and Norway. PhD organized Education Summit 2022 at PhD House, New Delhi. Chief guest Dr. Jitendra Singh, Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge, Science and Technology and Earth Sciences, Government of India. An interactive session with members of Parliament on ease of doing business in India. States Policy Conclave 2021 on the macroeconomic resilience of the states in the pandemic times, and release of PhD report on the role of states in making
A very good morning and a very warm welcome to everybody to the second day of our second edition of the Bharat Startup Summit. Thank you so much for taking our time and coming. And we're also grateful to our distinguished speakers for today who will be taking the Startup Masterclass for you all. So let's listen to them attentively, and let any questions that you have, you feel free to call and ask them. And let's have a very innovating and a very intelligent session today. I would like to invite Dr. Nikhil Agarwal, CEO, Foundation for Innovation and Research in Science and Technology and Artificial Intelligence and Innovation-Driven Entrepreneurship from IIT Kanpur. Welcome, sir. I also request Mr. Yashraj Akasi, the co-chair of Startup Committee PhD CCI and a senior ambassador TEDx. I believe you all heard all his experiences also yesterday, and we look forward to a very intelligent talk today from both of them. So I'll hand it over to Mr. Yashraj to take it forward.
Now, while everyone prepares on this stage, I really want to keep it impromptu. Those of you who were a part of it. And I mean, who was here yesterday for the last session? Oh, no, please, not so many people. Honestly, who was here yesterday for the last session? Okay, wow. Good to see you all again. Good morning. So I'm not going to take much of your time. And I come from a world where we produce short talks. Have you heard of TED? TED.com, TED Talks? Anyone who's not heard of it? It's okay. Really, I hadn't heard of it for a long time. Great. So just go to TED.com. Very expensive domain now, but really wonderful insights. So let me give you a small background, right? My first visit to Delhi to stay here, not just to visit. My first visit to Delhi was when my father was appearing for his civil services, and he got selected. So there's an interview round, right? And he basically said, my mom was at her parents' house, and he got me here in train to Delhi. We were waiting for his interview days, and my mom was supposed to join from somewhere in Gujarat. And for almost 24 hours, we couldn't connect with my mother. We were just frantic, right? And people have heard of crazy stories in Delhi. I'm from Bombay. I've heard of crazier stories. We were really scared that she's traveling with my nana coming to Delhi, and we don't know what happened. 24 hours. Okay, he was really tensed already with his interview, and the interview came just appearing for civil services is stress itself. Having a child and having your wife away and going for the exam, another level of stress. So for him, he was like, interview jao ki bacche ko dekho. But at the same time, that 24 hours became very difficult. And I remember distinctly that night, I had this feeling that, oh God, Delhi was difficult for us. A few years later, when I was studying for my civil services, I happened to be in Karol Bagh, Rajendra Nagar, and I was nervous. I'd cleared part one. I was hoping to clear part two, but I was really not interested. Was it the fear of the city? Was it the fear of civil services? Was it? I don't know. I really felt a little off. My roommate was a junior ISRO scientist. Okay, one of those guys, the guys in 3 Idiot who makes those drones? My roommate was that guy. He had made the drone very early, and he used to obsess about that drone very early. This was 2008-9, I think. And this was the guy who would use every tissue paper in a cafe to draw a better design. He was so focused. And I used to always wonder, to civil services kyun kar raha hai yaar? You're selected for, making spacecraft. He says, my father is a police officer. I said, I understand. And he says, no one gets married to a scientist. I'll have to pay a dowry for you. No, really, that was the thing. In 2008-9, he was a legend. He was my roommate. I felt privileged that out of some selection, probably, we both negotiated the rent well. I was in a circle of really smart people. And Delhi did that, right? The only security I had these few people around. And every day we would see some fight or some issue, something or the other. Delhi was a little rough. For a person from Bombay with a background, it really became rough. But these guys around me really cheered me up. And that gave me the energy to keep going on and on and on and on and on. Also, he used to basically watch TED Talks. And I used to watch Big Bang Theory, see, BBT, TED, difference. So we used to have a laptop, put it on charge, and that time we used to download these series. And one fine day to wonder, ye 4-5 baje tak kaise dekh sakta hai? So my laptop had conked off and something had gone wrong. And I happened to take his laptop. There was no Big Bang Theory. There was Khan Academy and there was TED Talks. I happened to just watch one, watch another one, watch another one. I think I was up till 8 a.m. in the morning, just watching these short talks. Surprisingly why? And we would have to download them because streaming was very difficult then. I just couldn't find a single Indian on TED.com. There was one called a guy called Pranav Mistry. Has anyone heard of him? Has anyone heard? One, yes. So there was one, this Ahmedabadi guy, Gujju boy, who's on stage challenging Steve Jobs, saying, you wouldn't really need his technology if you use my technology. And if you, I'm not going to tell you what he does, but please go see Pranav Mistry's talk today. You'll understand why Pranav Mistry single-handedly must have inspired millions of Indians to think big. That kid out of Gujarat used to think so big that even Steve Jobs used to fear his ideas. Trust me. When Steve Jobs launched his iPad, Pranav Mistry had launched something that could go, that's probably not in the market yet, but that could make the iPad go boom, bust in seconds if it had launched. That's how powerful a kid who was born in India, who got a stage at MIT and a stage at TED, was popular and was sharp about his idea. So that brings me to this, the environment you're in and what kind of ideas and what kind of things that people consume around you decide what your ideas are. And for me, it was Delhi, tough, exam, friends, but TED, right? And I really found it more interesting that time versus appearing for one of those side exams called SSB and all. I'll write to TED and see if I can help them find more Indians. That's when my journey with TED started off. They said, why don't you intern? In 2009, they said, why don't you intern with us? TED India had just happened. It was a big, big, big event, but it failed. And they were not too optimistic of Indians understanding TED then. And TED was fairly new. It's even though it's an organization in 1984, it started putting videos online only in 2007. So it was just new. I remember one fine day when I said, okay, I'm going to help you find people. Let me talk to some journalists if they know people. I called up a very senior journalist, a very prominent face on TV. And I said, I'll just leave his initials as RS. Sir, I want to talk to you about TED Talks. And he couldn't hear me. He said, Beta, what are you saying? What are you saying? Sir, I want to talk to you about TED Talks. He says, what dead dogs are you talking about? Really? He said that. God, I felt useless. That one idea I wanted to champion, I felt so damn useless. This guy was a legend. He still is. And I'm just like, sir, okay, sir, I'll call you later. I can still feel that pain. Have you felt that pain ever? Ki kuch to koshish kare and someone just slaps you on a finish. I felt that pain. But that pain fueled that idea even further. I took it up and I went to my friends, again, the circle, saying, boss, tum padhai karo. मैं ये TED को समझाऊंगा इंडिया क्या है और बाकी को भी समझाऊंगा TED क्या है. And from there on, my journey started. I started as an intern and then went on to become senior ambassador of TED. I represent a very powerful region. Southeast Asia, minus China actually, is probably close to 2.5 billion people. Now, why do I take that idea seriously? Is because there was a gap. There was a gap that said, if TED is a place where great ideas are born, why are there no ideas for Indians and by Indians? Can you imagine that happening in today's world? Almost every big company has an Indian running it, or will almost run it. But in 2009, nothing. I think the most famous Indian then was Sabir Bhatia for Hotmail. Please Google him. He was a brilliant guy then. He created Hotmail and sold it to Microsoft. But back then, we kind of took that step saying, okay, let's figure out what to do. And then from the journey on, we started going again and again and finding such people. That one comment from the journalist did not really stop me there. It actually fueled me to go further. And that's what happens, right? I'm going to tell you a bit about having one idea and how it matters. And let me tell you that not just by my story, but by stories of many other people that I've met through. In the journey of, in the journey of what we were building with TED, we came across so many people. But one of the most interesting one was a little known guy called Arunachalam. That time we used to have a BlackBerry. I'd taken a second-hand one from Gafar Market. It was cool to have a BlackBerry. It was cool to have BB pins and all. And someone messaged me a small article from Coimbatore. It said, woman's family wants women to divorce the man for selling sanitary pads to girls' hospital or girls' college or something like that. And I really found it amusing, saying, why is this guy facing all this in society? And I didn't understand the language. I went back to my ISRO friend. He had a genius who could just tell me, this is an article about a guy called Arunachalam. He basically wanted to create cheaper sanitary pads. He went door to door, people kicked him out. So he went to a medical college of girls and he tried to sell it to them and people kicked him out from there also. Even so, when the news came to his in-laws, they thought he is cursed. There is something wrong and perversive about this guy. Our daughter should divorce him. This is what had happened to Arunachalam. And we reached out to him. Somehow we got lucky and said, Arunachalam, can you come to Bombay for TED Talks? He's like, sir, I know Bombay. I don't know anything else. Will you get me to Bombay? I said, yeah, we'll fly you down. Like, no, sir, I can't fly. I don't want to go on a plane. This was typically a story of the guy that we all know as Pad Man. Have you heard of that? Yeah. So in 2010-11, he did not want to go on a flight. He did not want to do anything. He was scared. And plus, he was really upset that I don't know what will happen if I now leave my town and go back somewhere else. What will my in-laws think of me? And I said, sir, you're a legendary idea. We believe you. He said, okay, you believe me, I'll come. He was on stage in front of some of the biggest people in the world, the Unilever CEO. He was on stage in front of industrialists, policymakers, politicians. And the man goes on stage and talks about why India needs a sanitary pad revolution. That was it. That moment changed everything. Not only did, I'm still getting goosebumps. Not only did he instill a single idea that he stood for, he actually made a movement. There was a documentary filmmaker who then made a film on him, which won the Oscars. There was a filmmaker who basically put some masala and made a Bollywood film out of it. The UN guys were present. The guys from Microsoft were present, and the Gates Foundation gave him an award. Unilever, the world's largest, I think one of the largest FMCG conglomerates, understood that there is going to be a big revolution here. People were supporting him. A union minister gave him an immediate grant to have these machines installed because that one idea was so powerful and he had a way of putting that idea effectively there. He didn't just say that women don't, he said, he told us what women use instead of a sanitary pad. Foil, leaves, extra cloth. And then he said, why? Because he removed a bundle of notes and says, because people want more money. Something that could be done in 1-2 rupees is sold at 20-30 rupees. And that's why people have to choose in small households to take 1 liter of milk for family or a sanitary pad for a problem that is universal. Why do we call it a taboo? A man on stage that minute with an idea was a man with whose time had come. And that's it. Everyone knows from 2010, 2011, Arunachalam, known as the Pad Man, was a revolutionary. If the world has to ever remember people who really single-handedly drove an idea, to the world and the world changed, I think Arunachalam is going to be that one person. And stories like this motivated me to go find more and more people with my team. Similarly, we found someone called Ritu Karidhal from ISRO. Again, remember that ISRO friend who never, let me tell you what happened to him. One, he left ISRO. Two, he never became a police officer. He's now an app developer. He earns a lot of money. His father's still not happy. It's okay. But the point is he's doing what he loves. He gave me a name of a person called Ritu Karidhal. Ritu Karidhal was the lady behind, one of the other ladies behind the Mangalyaan mission. The whole logic of making sure that we are able to achieve a unheard of mission in less than X amount of money, 74 crores, I believe, for what NASA would spend $1 billion. But what was the drive behind someone like Ritu Karidhal and her team to do this? A team full of women. Again, I think this Mangalyaan mission became a movie too. But before that, we were able to see it live. And I'll tell you why. When we called Ritu ma'am, she was happy to work on a script with us. She was happy to put the idea. But the one thing she said, you know why we do this, Yashraj? Not because I want to get a promotion. Because I believe if you're able to do this at ISRO, millions and millions of youngsters will be inspired to aim big. And what bigger aim than aiming out of the world into space? She was so driven by it that at 2 a.m. at night, when she was in the hospital with a husband who wasn't well, and she would call us at 1 or 2 a.m. after the husband slept, saying, now I have time to write my script. And I'm like, ma'am, we can do this next year. She's like, no. If you think your platform can take this idea to millions of kids, why not? I'll do it now. But that one idea that she believed, that one idea that a team believed, really took her from point A to point Z. We were just a conduit or a platform to it. That was one idea. The other idea is of someone called Sudharak Olve. How many of you have heard of manual scavenging out here? How many of you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it? Okay. How many of you have heard of a conservatory worker? 1, 2. How many of you here have seen a man go down a gutter to clean it? It's all the same. How many of you can imagine doing that job every day? Can you imagine doing that job? Then how can we imagine a human do the same job? Some humans do it, right? In Bombay particularly, I think there are over 4,000 or 5,000 people who do this every day. They go down a toxic hole. They might not come back up. You don't know what that hole has. You don't know where it leads to. You know, I'll tell you, in Bombay, it's so infamous that a very famous doctor happened to, in a monsoon time, heavy rains, happened to get off from his imported car, walk down the bridge and just fall into that manhole, come out dead on the other end of the city, right? And these people go every day to clean it. I think, forget giving human dignity to people. This is beyond that. And this has been prevalent in our cities for donkey years. I mean, if you talk about being truly independent, I think we should be truly independent by everyone feeling independent. But manual scavenging is a hereditary passed on job. If your father does it, you'll probably get to do it. And that's the best society can offer you. I think that was a problem. In 2014, when someone came up and said, this exists, I was like, why does it exist? That idea itself, that something like this exists itself, was a powerful idea to defeat. And you needed someone to defeat it. That's when Sudharak Olve comes in. Let me tell you, if you search Sudharak Olve, then you will typically get pictures of Angelina Jolie and John Abraham. He was the cover story photographer for Bombay Times. But what is the relation, you may ask? Cover story photographer for Hollywood and Bollywood and manual scavenging doesn't make sense. What makes sense is that when he would earn that money from doing this work for the Times, he would spend that money in documenting marginalized society workers. He would document them through his photography. He said, Yash, I earn money so I can spend more time putting the truth out. And he showed us an array of photos. You know what happens to photographers? They go crazy with every picture because you might just see a black and white picture. They see the entire story in the moment there. You know, famous photographer Raghu Rai told me, I'm not a photographer. I capture heartbeat. The camera captures that heartbeat for me. How can you say it's just a photo? He felt offended when I asked him, sir, what does this photo mean? It means my life, he said. So photographers are very passionate. When he said this one photo, he showed me a picture of a dustbin, okay, an open dustbin on the road. I'm sure we do still see it, but it's open right there. And he said, tell me what's wrong here. None of us could find out. Then he said, look on the right and tell me what's wrong here. There was a hand out of it, a baby's hand, a discarded fetus. And next to it was a lady who had to clean it. Every day, without a mask, without the right equipment, she would just go out there, take 2 cardboards, pick it up. Dogs would be barking at her. People would disregard her. Someone throws a sanitary pad on her face. All that is okay. That's her life. And something was very, very wrong. Such things existed. The idea that such things was okay was itself wrong. You know, we went up to people and everyone said, yeah, you know what to do. It's okay, it's their choice. I said, no, it's not their choice. They don't have an option. They live in a house which is divided into half so that 2 families can share in it. And they know that if one father passes away, the son or daughter gets the same job. That's how security means for them. In 2014-15, that was an idea we wanted to defeat. And in 2014, we met Dr. Padma Shri Sudharak, he's Padma Shri now. And Sudharak ji showed us these photos and I said, sir, why don't you talk about it? He said, there's a mafia behind it, Yash. This is impossible. It is a topic on caste. It is a topic on ethic. It is a topic on society. No one's going to accept it. I said, no, sir, it's okay. We'll support you. We believe in your idea. And his idea was simple. Through his photos, he wanted to ask people, why is it that we give dignity to what we think is right and not dignity to what others humans are supposed to be as equal? He put it right there, saying, is he not human? Does he not have 5.5 liters of blood like you and me have? And he said it, what is the difference? Why can't we do this in today's world when we have the most complex technology available? Why are we still sending a man down a hole to risk his life to clean a gutter? That changed. A chairman of a very large conglomerate, probably the topmost, was sitting there and he said, we spend over 150 crores on CSR. How come we haven't ever thought of this? And that moment on, one man's idea became another person's drive. It's still a problem. It's not really solved, but I can tell you that from that day onwards, we've measured the impact. We've measured the impact of BMC, making sure technology is used. We measured the impact of society, NGOs, making sure there's rehabilitation of conservatory workers. And we've also looked at the fact that there is more and more awareness of this issue. We could do that because the idea was powerful enough. I don't think the issue is solved. When I asked Sudharak, does it exist? He's like, it's a little bit more complex, but it's getting better. At least the next generation might not see this, but it's an idea that has moved mountains. Going further, we had a 86-year-old former judge whose poem was one read out to by my intern to us. Her idea was, why in today's age does dowry exist? And I was surprised, I was like, what? Dowry in today's age? No, doesn't happen. How many of you believe that dowries exist in today's age? Oh, really? You have to look around, look at this. Really, how many? You think dowries exist in some form or the other? Wow. So that 86-year-old former judge's name was Leela Shetji. Have you heard of her? Has anyone heard of Leela Shet? 1, 2, 3. I don't know if you know this, but my generation probably wouldn't have heard of her. When I met her, I felt that I've met a legend. And her idea was single, and she was like that from the start, right? She's always been a firebrand of sort. Her idea, her single most idea, she said, I've done everything possible and I'm happy of the way it is. I have challenged judges. I have been there. I have brought a change to the system, but I've failed in one place. Dowries exist when inheritance should exist. You realize the difference. She's not highlighting a problem. She's also giving you a solution. Her talk on stage at the age of 86, and she rehearsed for 3 months. Her talk on stage, driven by her own story and stories of what she's seen, was about why does the father in the house not give his daughter inheritance from day one? And why does he prepare, and the father and sons prepare to always say the daughter needs dowry? It's relevant because I asked a friend of mine in the pandemic, how does he buy gold? He says, I buy it every week. And I asked him, why do you buy it every week? You're mad or what? Who buys gold every week? He's like, Yash, I have a daughter. So it's something that we all do. We buy gold every week. That's it. That was his answer. I don't know how many of you relate to that, but it opened my eyes up, right? And it made me realize Leela ji was right. There's a mentality problem. And the idea was not about the problem. The idea was about inheritance. She said, why can't daughters get equal inheritance? If there's a property a father has bought, why does he think of passing it only to his sons? Why not equally to his daughter? That idea probably is watched over 2 to 3 million times. I think it still has, it's just 1% done. I think it still has steam to go now that I see so many hands. Please go watch this talk. That idea inspired us to start a very big movement. Unfortunately, that was her last talk. She breathed her last in 2016. But I remember the opportunity we had with her to share that idea was something beyond. And I won't take long. I'll just wrap it up with a few more ideas, but I'll tell you what the main story is in a bit. The other last idea that we had featured in Feb 2020 was an investigative photojournalist who basically spoke about capturing all perspectives of a story. He was in most of the civil, he's captured most of the civil and army unrest that's been around, from what happened in Sri Lanka after the bomb blast, to what happened in Afghanistan, to what happened in different parts of the world. Even the Myanmar crisis or the refugee crisis that happened later. And he's been a person who's been feared by, he was feared by a lot of global media politics. And this man used to go to every place and used to capture both the side of the stories. In fact, one photo of his that he showed us was, he's on one side where a rebel army is throwing a bomb. And you can see he's captured a picture of a small thing going up in the air. And he's taken the picture of where it lands on a school bus. And he says, my job is to show you the reality. It's not just to show you photos. And people might just think I'm showing one point, but my job is to show you both points. Can you imagine being in his shoes when he just sees that grenade open, throw, no one cares or realizes there's a school bus where it's going to. Those moments, right, decide a lot of humanity for us. And you see, I've chosen ideas that have societal effect. There are ideas that are technological, right? Like can blind people see color? We had a person who was colorblind and he used its sensor to decode color into sound. We had a person showing a jetpack. I think those are great. Technology takes humanity forward, but what takes humanity forward from society? These ideas, right? One single idea. And this person whose photography I was talking about kept on showing us photos of different places. He showed us a picture of how a family invited him home before they would go to church. And he showed how they had done up the house because they had a new child. They had this baby crib. They had colored the house blue because of the baby boy. And then they went to church. But what happened next? They never came back. There was a bomb blast in Sri Lanka in a church. And then he showed the house empty, prepared, well done, empty. His idea that he stood for all his life was to show you reality. Can any of you out here who are probably very well read, who watch news almost every day, consume Twitter, Instagram, tell me who this photographer could have been? Probably his second last work was covering COVID in UP. His last work was in Afghanistan, where he was shot down by the Taliban. Yes, Danish Siddiqui. I'm so happy you said that. Danish Siddiqui was our speaker in 2020. It took us 4 years to convince him that our platform can make a difference. No one ever knew that this would be his last talk. You know, in all of these things, I feel that we at TEDx have got a duty to put up such speakers. Has anyone of you heard of Greta Thunberg? Before she was a school child protesting outside of a school, she was a TEDx Stockholm speaker. Has anyone of you heard of Kailash Satyarthi? Before he was a Nobel laureate, he was a TEDx IIT Kharagpur or TEDx BHU speaker. Most of these people are a part of a large, invisible grassroots network called TEDx. While every one of you will see stars like Shah Rukh Khan and other people on it, go dig further. You will see stories from almost 160 different countries, ideas of people that stand strongly for it. And the summary of what I'm going to tell you is it's so important to define your life with one idea. We have the privilege of being anyone and everyone every day. I can be a social media expert today. I can be a content curator tomorrow. I can be a public policy expert in a matter of minutes. And I can probably talk about the banking crisis after seeing enough on Twitter. But who am I? What is my identity? What is my idea? What do I stand for? Is something that I feel that today, as a generation that's super connected, has forgotten. We might just know everything, but we don't stand for anything. So most of you are young. I could feel the pulse of it. I didn't want to, I had a prepared talk and I thought that would be inspiring, but what goes? If I can have even one of you stand up for one idea that you believe in, maybe you would be on the TED stage. Maybe it could be a documentary on you. Maybe it could be a film on you. More importantly, I hope it's a societal change that leads to take humanity forward. So that's about it. I think I want to tell you this. Have an idea, stand up for an idea. And if you don't have an idea, go find one. Each one of us is born unique. Trust me, very unique. I'm probably not what my father wanted me to be, but I am someone who I truly want to be. And I really wish that happiness and joy you have so that you can change the world around you. You're not going to change the world by, being in someone else's shoes and sharing someone else's dream. You're definitely going to change the world by doing an idea that you stand for and the world participates in it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for such a heart-rending talk. We'll open the floor for some questions because I think Yashaj also has to leave. So if there are any questions you'd like to ask him personally, so please go ahead. You can raise your hand and
Thank you. Truly, thank you so much. Such a privilege to have heard you today. Yeah. So I have been watching TED Talk for a long time, to the extent that I think 4-5 years back, I used to tell my children, so when they were 5-6 years old, उनको मैं कराती थी कि बोलो मैं रिकॉर्ड करती हूँ कुछ भी बोलो हाँ and I myself wanted to be on TED Talk. I am a lawyer and I'm also an author of a book called Rising in Love with Your In-Laws. I'm world's only author on this topic, world's. Okay, and I have been doing this for 13 years. I have saved many marriages. कल एक मेरे पास and families, not just marriages, in-laws, families, family relationship. कल एक मैसेज आया आप जैसा कोई किसी की जिंदगी में आए तो बात बन जाए. I was like, wow. So completely relate to it. So I think one of the things would be to what is the procedure? If you could say in short, whom could we connect? How could this idea? I truly stand for this idea, like that rising in love with your in-laws will not just solve marital issues, grandchildren parenting issues, community issues, and 66% of matrimonial cases in-laws का जिक्र होता है, finally कुछ नहीं होता. तो cause list जो है कोर्ट की, ये जो justice delayed, justice denied, इसमें मेरा ये छोटा सा contribution है. अगर जो वो cases हाँ सके, तो इस तरीके का idea है. I just want to know the procedure. And
it's a lovely idea. I think it's a hit the minute you said it. How many of you are out here are in-laws? I think you would also agree, right? And how many of you are on the other side? No, we hear such ideas every day. It's I don't think your idea is crazy. It's really good. We've heard ideas. Tell you an average. I think over the last 13 and a half years, per year on average, I listen to at least 1,000, 2,000 ideas. 1,000, 2,000 individuals who are really inspiring. And in fact, TED's given us that privilege and duty actually to be able to hear this, right? And we tell people not everything is just the TED stage. And the reason why today I wasn't talking about startups, even though, I was told specifically to tell startups something inspiring, something important, is because not everything is a mechanical startup. I think startup is just one layer of it. I think what you do in society after that startup really matters. So coming back to what you're saying is, if you think this really matters, and if you think, I'm sure it does, and if you think that you're happy doing it, just keep doing it. You don't know which platform. TED is not the only platform. TED was TED in 1984. There was no internet. There was nothing. In 2007, they came up with video, right? I mean, they started releasing videos. They already always had video. Arunachalam didn't even know TED. The journalist I spoke to you, right? The one who said TED Talks, dead dogs. What is that? They don't, today they know you for your idea. I'm not saying Arunachalam was big because of the TED stage. He was already big as an idea. Someone just gave him a stage. I don't think we made the film. We didn't make the documentary. We just put him on the stage so others who could say, I can do this with it. So why don't you do one thing? Simple first. Okay, there are thousands of TEDx's across. I'm sure schools, colleges, most of you have TEDx's. Any school or college that has a TEDx that you know of out here? Anyone that knows of their school or college having TEDx? There are 2,400 TEDx's in India. Yeah, TEDx Gateway is just a bigger TEDx, but 2,400 of them that have happened till now. Go on TED.com, search for TEDx, see the map, see where the next event is happening. Make your idea into 3-4 lines. Write the impact of it. Don't write your profile. Make your idea first into 3-4 lines. Write the impact of this idea and put it to a TEDx curator. Trust me, half of these curators have a challenge finding people like you. They find a TV serial person, they find an entrepreneur. It's very easy to find. And everyone writes to Oyo, everyone writes to Ola, everyone writes to all the same guys. You know, one Bollywood star told me, ki, boss, I get a TEDx invite every hour. I said, good, na? See where India is going. But he's not going to be there at every event. But they need ideas. In over 13 years of doing TEDx's, people have now understood the difference between having an inspiring talk and having an idea. You have an idea, you're already there, 50% there. If you have the stats to it, start building your talk. Try it somewhere. Someone somewhere bigger than a TEDx platform will probably see it. Maybe another book publisher will see it. You know, maybe BBC sees it. Who knows? But believe in your ideas, stand by it. That's about it.
Any other questions? I think they're keeping it for some time later and they're mulling over it. So now it's our privilege to invite Dr. Nikhil Agarwal. He's the CEO Foundation for Innovation and Research in Science and Technology and Artificial Intelligence and Innovation Driven Entrepreneurship from IIT Kanpur. Welcome, sir.
Very good morning, everyone. After hearing such a lively speech from Yashish, I also feel energetic. So this is a master class. So I thought that I'll run some slides for you. So just to understand what is going on in startup world. So yesterday, whole day you have spent listening to the ministers and listening to the startup founders, what is going on. So there are a lot of stats which are, I'm sure, must be thrown at you. India is the third largest startup nation in the world. We have 108 unicorns. We have 100,000 plus DPIIT registered startups. We have more than 600 unicorns. Last 3 months time, more than 2 lakh crore has been invested in startups. So what is happening? What does it mean? Why there is so much of interest in startups? Why so many people want to do a startup? What is the meaning of a startup? How many of our actual startup founders here? Okay, 1%, 2%, only three. So 3 are actual, 4 are actual startup founder. Incidentally, the average of age of all 4 startup founders is, I think, 40. Is it so? But startup is considered to be more of a young person domain. That okay, the students startups, the students are coming out of the startups happening from the door rooms, startup happening from the hostels. So why this change is happening? Why the startup age is going up? Recently, there was a survey done in US and UK about the common startup age. You'll be surprised to know that in UK, the startup founders age is 47. And in US, the startup founders age is around 45. There are more and more mature person coming out who have spent 20, 30 years of their time in the corporate world, and they want to do a startup. So what is changing? What is changing? The change is happening is about the acceptability of the startup. The startup was not considered to be a fruitful job earlier. It was more of any other business, trading, like, it's a common saying that is a Baniya's business. I'm also Agarwal, I'm also Baniya. So it's a Baniya's business, running MSME, starting a dukan, doing some trading business. So that was but that was not considered to be a startup. So what is the difference between a startup and starting a traditional Baniya's business? That's the first question to you. So let's say a lot of leaders says that, okay, you start a thela, pan thela or chai thela. Does it mean a startup? Why? So MBA chai wala, chayos, BTech chap wala. Abhi recently there was one BTech pani puri wali. Royal Enfield pani puri. Yes.
According to me, what you're trying to say is innovation is something when you bring something new in the society, when startup is something when you break out an idea which has been there in the society, but wasn't presentable or wasn't into the modern market or into the show. When you bring it out in a presentable way and when you present it in such a way that it becomes a business, it earns some profit, then you call it a startup. Whereas a business can be a traditional business, or when you just join a company and you become a VP of something.
So for example, let's take an example of some of the new startup like Zepto and Blinkit. Now they have been doing, like traditional traders have been doing this, the grocery business for years.
Yeah.
आप सोसाइटी के बाहर निकलिए, आपको ब्रेड खरीदनी, अंडा खरीदना है, फोन कर दीजिए, लड़का आके दे जाएगा. The same thing is happening.
They are doing the same thing. They have just given it a name and then they are presenting it in a much more presentable way.
So if you make it a name and give it in a nice presentable manner, create a good website, raise $1 billion, that makes you a startup. Is it so?
If you make losses, like credit.
Practically everybody is making losses. That is a different story.
So Baniya doesn't make losses and he won't keep making losses. Startup is okay making losses.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, you are right. You are right. And also, don't blame me if I tell you half of the startups are Baniyas who are making losses, like Ritesh Agrawal and Mukesh Bansal. But so that's a key. So that's a key learning. What is a startup and what is a traditional business? There has to be a technology component into a startup. That is one. There has to be a USP in a startup. Some kind of, like if we say MBA chai wala or BTech chap wala or chayos. So what is the difference between a chayos and a normal thela wala? The chayos is able to bring a technology platform along with selling a tea. He is able to come up with and replicability of a business. If there is a normal chai thela wala, he may not be able to replicate a business, but Chayos is able to replicate this business in 500 places. What's the difference between a Blinkit and a corner grocery shop? The Blinkit is able to do this exactly the same thing, but using a technology at your own home, and you can do it across the country wherever you want. So there is a great technology platform that exists, and also they are able to churn that data out. Like millions of people are ordering on a Blinkit at every moment. So somebody like you in Noida is ordering a bread. So there is somebody else like you in Gurgaon probably needing a bread. So that kind of recommendation comes in. So there are successful examples that exist across the country. So what is a startup? So startup now is a definition very clearly defined in DPIIT. How many of you, I ask you, how many of you are startup? 4 companies are here who are doing a startup. How many want to do a startup? Now, approximately 20 people. So 20 people will do a startup. Rest 100 people who are sitting will work for these startups. That's going to happen. Because these startups will become one day large enough to either give you a job or your kids a job. That is 100% going to happen. So startup story in India is just about to start. It's not even started. 100 companies in a large country like India, which are unicorn, which is nothing. The domestic market is extremely large. Today, the startup, we have close to 6.5 million people, which is 65 lakh people which are employed in startup domain. as compared to close to 30 million employed in ITS domain. So the story has just started. The story is still very limited to the tier 1 cities, still very limited to the class A institutions like IITs and others. The student gets out, alumni which have a substantial corporate experience, they are doing the startup. Now the story will go into the tier 2, tier 3 cities and where the change will happen. Now we believe that in 10 to 20 years time, at least 10 to 15% of GDP will come from the startup ecosystem, which is fairly large. And some of these companies will become extraordinarily large, whether it's manufacturing tech, whether it's health tech, whether it's education tech. Not every company will be an aggregator. Not every company will be a Zomato. Not every company will be a Blinkit. Not every company will be just a Nykaa, which is an aggregation business. A new company, new age company like manufacturing tech, education tech, those companies will emerge, and those things are started happening. So in this particular masterclass for next 20 minutes or so, I'll share with you how we crack the Da Vinci Code. How do we crack, not just like we cracked already, but how do you crack the Da Vinci Code? What is the Da Vinci Code here? No, of course, but what is Da Vinci Code here? Startup idea. How do you crack your startup idea? 20 of you have raised the arm that you want to do a startup, but let me ask you, have you thought about that idea? How many of you have thought about an idea? How many of you have one page written on that idea? So 23, 0. Right? 4 people still have startups. So room remains same. So that's the difference. 20 people want to do a startup. 3 people said they have thought about the idea. 0 people said they have not even written a page about it. How do you start up? What do you do about it? How do you raise the funding without even writing a page? Nobody will give you money now. See, it was gone other days. People like us have raised money. People like us, we have given money. But today we will not give any money. Not a penny. Nobody will get you a penny. Today the things have changed. So how do you crack the Da Vinci Code? So let's get into it. I'll give you certain examples in between. So that is a very common question which has been asked by a lot of context people, that you answer 3 questions and you can go to Switzerland. Who is Priyanka Chopra? And so Priyanka Chopra is a great entrepreneur. Why she is a great entrepreneur? If you look at her journey in the last 5 years, every single movie she has done is failed. She is still on the page 3 every day. She is walking on the Oscar with the red carpet. A failed actress, a successful entrepreneur. Sunil Shetty, another great example. A failed actor, successful entrepreneur. Vivek Oberoi. I'm sure most of the young people won't even remember because they have not done a movie for 20 years. Yeah, but that failed. That also failed, unfortunately. So a lot of these actors, may not be a great actor, but they are great entrepreneurs. One of the most successful cricket entrepreneurs, can you name it? Dhoni. Dhoni is one of the most successful cricket entrepreneurs. Is not Tendulkar, not Kohli, not anybody. Yuvraj Singh is another one. Yuvraj Singh, yes. Yuvraj Singh has invested good amount of money, and I think he's making sense. So Priyanka Chopra is a successful entrepreneur and who is doing some good business, creating different kind of waves abroad. Now, the another question. If you answer this question, you can win a trip to Switzerland. How to earn money? पान ठेला लगाना है, चाय वाला बनना है, स्टार्टअप करना है, स्टार्टअप का आइडिया रखना है लेकिन कागज में लिखना है. How to earn money? How much money is enough money? I'm sure you must have read the articles that Mukesh Bhai makes a lakh per second. Now, how do you arrive those numbers? What you will do for 1 lakh rupees per second? आप लोगों ने एक बड़ी पुरानी मूवी आई थी, शायद काफी लोगों को याद होगा. There was a movie, Nasruddin Shah movie, like 20 years back, which he got some serious amount of money, 30 crores, and he has to spend in 30 days time. ऐसा कुछ था, एक मूवी आई थी ना, long time back. So if you get a 30 crores or a crore or a lakh per second, what you will do? Most likely you run out the ideas in 5 minutes time. Max. आप समझ नहीं पाओगे करना क्या है पैसे का. So why you want to earn money? That's the question. If you don't want to earn the money, you cannot spend. Then how to earn money? Everybody is running after the money, but they don't know how to spend that money. So why to earn money? Time is another. So a lot of people work hard, save money to say that I will probably, whenever I have time, I'll go to Switzerland to relax. Normally they wait for 30, 40, 50 years. And some of them never go. मैंने एक क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछा आप लोगों से. I'm sure everybody will say yes. How many actually want to go to Switzerland? A lot of you want to go to Switzerland, right? Now the last question. What's the difference between entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship? Yashish is the only one which will go to Switzerland. So who is better? Entrepreneur is better, entrepreneur is better. Who is more value? So do you think Sundar Pichai is not doing a good job? Or Satya Nadella? So in fact, both of them are very important because see, as an entrepreneur, you are of course creating your own business. But when you are entrusted with certain responsibilities in a large business, so you act like a mini CEO. You can also create a lot of value for that particular business. Sometimes you don't have to always do certain things because large businesses also need intelligent entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is not starting a business. Entrepreneurship is a spirit. Entrepreneurship is a behavior change that is there. If you're an entrepreneur, you are continuously seeking the new things. You are continuously trying to do something new. Whether it's a large organization, whether it's a small organization, does not matter. So entrepreneur and entrepreneurs are both important. If you are part of an organization trying to do something for that particular business, great. But do something innovative, something new, something which can make a difference to yourself and to that business. Entrepreneur is of course creating new businesses. There are tons of examples of entrepreneurs. Now, understanding entrepreneurship, again, 4 photographs. What they have in common? Who are these 4 people who are there on your screen? Who everybody remembers. The 4th person is difficult to remember. Henry Ford. That's an interesting name. Who else? अच्छा, बिना मन में बताइए. अभी काफी लोगों ने आगे वालों को सुना नहीं है. Somebody said the name. पीछे से बताइए. ठीक है सर, आपकी बात बिल्कुल ठीक है. So he is Mr. Tata. He has created one of the finest brand. Now, if you look at, there's a contrast between all 4. And you must be wondering that why this professor has gone crazy to put Mother Teresa and Adolf Hitler next to next. Why this is so? And then surrounded by 2 entrepreneurs. The Bill Gates has created one of the biggest companies in the world, Microsoft. Now, what Bill Gates want to leave the legacy for? He has donated every single penny to charity. And he has not only donated every single penny to charity, he has motivated another billionaire called Warren Buffett to donate every single penny to charity. And then he motivated a few more to donate everything to charity. You imagine you create some of the biggest businesses in the world, $100 billion. I'm quite hopeful that most of you, if I ask you this question, how many zeros are there in a billion, you will struggle. $100 billion. If you are spending 1 lakh per second, you will not be able to finish $100 billion in a lifetime. I'm not saying earning, you spend that much money. That money is the $100 billion. If you look at what Bill Gates have done, he has motivated not just himself, but other people also to donate hundreds of billions of dollars for charity. And they are not just normal charity that they give away people like food and eat. They are trying to solve a most critical problems, whether it's agriculture, whether it's in health. So you create a huge amount of wealth. That successful business still running. Practically every computer, 80% of the computer in the world runs on Microsoft, use Microsoft. That business is fueling the another great work, which is agriculture and health services across the world, including in India. Similar thing JIT Tata has done. Tata has a beautiful model. Most of you have not studied Tata model. You should study it. Tata is not owned by, there is no billionaire in Tata's. Tata is close to $200 billion company, but there's no billionaire in Tata. Adani is a billionaire, Ambani is a billionaire, this guy is a billionaire, that guy is a billionaire. Even the yesterday's entrepreneurs, which we have taken certain names like Dipen Goyal, Ritesh Agarwal, Mukesh Bansal, all they are billionaires in their own right. But there is no billionaire in Tata family. Even today, 120 companies Tata has. Why this is so? क्या उनको बिलियनर बनने का शौक नहीं है? क्या वो पैसा बुरा लगता है? क्या उनको नहीं लगता कि 1 लाख रुपए पर मिनट सेकंड हमको मिले? But that was a value that Mr. Tata has created. So he created a Tata Trust. Every single penny, most of the money, other than the shareholder money, that goes back as a profit into a Tata Trust. And Tata Trust do the charities job. And they are not a charitable organization. Every Tata company, go and buy a Tata car, they will charge you a profit. You buy Tata Namak, there will be a profit. You buy TCS services, there will be a profit. They earn profit from everywhere, but donate it back to the charity. So going back to the society. Mother Teresa, another great entrepreneur. She came from Poland, made her home in Calcutta, of course, won the Nobel Prize, then become Saint Teresa. And she has created a different kind of entrepreneurship, which is love-based entrepreneurship, spiritual-based entrepreneurship. She was able to motivate people. Now, out of all these three people, you must be wondering why I have put Adolf Hitler. What he has in common? What was the reason? Yes, in a negative way. Even if it's in a negative way, but he was able to inspire a generation. And he was able to inspire a generation to kill themselves. So entrepreneurship spirit may be common, to motivate others, to bring people to do something. So it's now your choice to do it in a positive way or a negative way. There are other negative people who have done the same. Like another negative person in the recent history was Osama bin Laden. How do you motivate somebody to kill himself or herself just to harm someone else? It's a very distinct ability. If they would have spent that kind of ability in a positive format, they would have solved the cancer. They would have solved some other water issues in the world. They could have solved something else which is hurting the humanity. But they decided to use their ability for something else. So they have something in common, but it's your choice to make it right or make it wrong. So entrepreneur is not just a money creator. Entrepreneur is also the creator of wealth and social justice. They provide jobs to others. They provide help to the families. Now there are different types of entrepreneurs. I ask you a question, what is the difference between an entrepreneur and entrepreneur? So there are 4 types of entrepreneurs, what we know. One is a social entrepreneur. He is a creator of opportunity. Yashi has just taken the name of Mr. Satyarthi. So Satyarthi is a Nobel laureate and creator, a social entrepreneur. He has created an opportunity. Many other such organizations which are there, which are social entrepreneur, which create opportunity and opportunity for others. Now there is a political entrepreneur. Political entrepreneur is a creator of policy for creating, for building businesses in the state. So other than like just currently I work for IIT Kanpur. Just in 2019 I joined IIT Kanpur. Before that I was working for Mr. Chandrababu Naidu for 4 years. And 2019 when he lost the job, I also lost the job, unfortunately. So and I was extremely impressed the way Mr. Naidu was working. I've closely worked with him. Chandrababu Naidu has developed one of the finest startup ecosystem, entrepreneurship ecosystem, and IT ecosystem in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Now it is Andhra and Telangana, and something which has been replicated by many states. When you look at the current Prime Minister, the kind of policies that is coming in the current government last 6-7 years, they are completely lauded. Finest policies in entrepreneurship today. If you want to start your own business, the 20 people who have raised their hands, if you really want to start your business, if you are able to come up with a business plan, if you are able to put up thoughts on a piece of paper, today you can raise anything 50 lakhs to 5 crores in grants in the government quite easily without breaking your head. 50 lakhs to 5 crores. Today, there are a lot of companies outside. I don't know whether you have visited. In the morning, I came early. I was just going around. Couple of companies have raised the money outside. I was talking to them. They've raised 50 lakhs from BIRAG, another 10 lakhs from government of Odisha, 20 lakhs from here, 30 lakhs from there. Now, who is giving that money? The government is giving the money. Somebody has made the policy and that money is available. Well, who is an entrepreneur? He is a creator of wealth. He creates the wealth for others. There is a thinker and academic entrepreneur. He's a creator for entrepreneurial process. So a lot of professor friend like us who create models, which model can work, which model may not work. Now the banks are falling. The last 3 days, every day one bank is falling. SVB, Signature Bank, today First Republic Bank. Yesterday the Credit Suisse was rescued. Now, do you think that these models work or not? Somebody will put the thought that these models works or not. Then there's an entrepreneur who is a creator of corporate opportunity or corporate entrepreneurship. Now, what makes you entrepreneur or entrepreneur? The only difference between entrepreneur and entrepreneur is entrepreneur, the question is not there. He is walking the tightrope and there are chances of failing. The failing from the rope is quite high. So that question is not there. That is the only difference. So I'm sure a lot of people watch the IPL. So what is the IPL factor in entrepreneurship? What is I? So there are 3 things that can make your idea work. What is I? Idea. Idea to product roadmap. If you have an idea, then can you create a product roadmap? Then product to market roadmap. You may have able to create a product, but can you sell? A lot of companies create great products, raise small amount of money, but they never ever go to the market. So success you see of 100. We only celebrate success. Now then, market to growth and sustainability roadmap. You have created a product, you are selling the product, but are you sustainable? Many of you are following the story of Zomato and Paytm and Nykaa or Cartrade, which are listed companies now. Every share is 60-70% down. Why? Because they are burning the cash. For every rupee they earn, one of the company, every rupee they earn, their spend is 250 rupees. 1 रुपया कमाने के लिए 250 रुपया खर्च करते हैं कस्टमर एक्विजिशन के नाम पे. कमाई है 2000 करोड़, खर्चा है 8000 करोड़, 10,000 करोड़ साल का. ज्यादातर स्टार्टअप की स्टोरी है. Then how do you create a competition profile? Whether you can survive in the competition or not. What is the best startup idea? Next best startup idea. You can replace a Facebook. You can replace. These people should have a complementary competition style. They should have enthusiasm and cultural fit. And they should be hardworking integrity. जो स्टार्टअप सोचता है, अच्छा आप में से 20 लोग स्टार्टअप करना चाहते हैं, मैं एक सवाल पूछता हूं आपसे. How many of you want to create that startup and sell that startup in 5 years? सोचा है? किसी इन्वेस्टर के पास जाओगे कि भैया मुझे $1 मिलियन दे दो, 7-8 करोड़ रुपए दे दो, कंपनी चलानी है मुझे, पर मैं 3-4 साल में निकल जाऊंगा, क्या लगता है आपको क्या होगा? कोई नहीं देगा ना? क्यों नहीं देगा? क्योंकि जब आप ही नहीं होगे तो काम किसको देगा? तो आपकी इंटीग्रिटी और हार्डवर्क, because they want you to see that you will continue forever. Why these startup founders, whether it's Dipender Goyal or Ritesh Agrawal or these people, are still working after being a billionaires? इन्होंने सोचा होगा कि यार 100 मिलियन आ जाएं, 500-200 मिलियन आ जाएं, खर्चा तो वैसे भी नहीं करना है, लेकिन अपना बढ़िया अपना इटली में जाके रहेंगे, कैलिफोर्निया में घर बनाएंगे, प्लेन में घूमेंगे, मार्स वार्स पे घुमाएंगे, कभी कोई ले जाएगा तो एलन मस्क की तरह से एलन मस्क को दे देंगे $1 मिलियन कि चल भाई अपने प्लेन में ले जाना है जब मार्स जाओगे तो. But they are not able to go. Frankly speaking, most of them are working 7 days a week. They don't even take holidays. And many of them I know personally. Many unicorn owners I know personally. अभी 8-10 दिन पहले I was sitting with Rahul Garg from Moglix. Moglix is the 25th largest unicorn, $4 billion. Saturday morning, 11 o'clock. And it was just before the Holi. So, and they were in the entire floor, 600 people can sit. Only 5 people were there. मैं, राहुल, उनका एक चपरासी और 2 आदमी और थे. मैंने कहा यहाँ छुट्टी आज क्यों बैठे हो? कह रहे क्या करूं घर पे भी. So that's a passion. These kind of hard work people want to see. Then they will give the money. That's the difference between the person who is working there and who is the person who is running there. Then Launchpad. You require first customer funding and market visibility. So 3 things you have to work. So if you note it down this particular slide, you will be able to create your own IPL. You will be able to create your own first page of your idea. So most of the people keep on thinking that they have to execute something. But search, think and execute. Whatever idea that is there in your head, most likely other people must have thought about it. You think that you are going to change the ecosystem, most likely it will not happen. The idea has no value. Now let me tell you once again, idea has no value. सब बोलते हैं ना आइडिया बहुत अच्छा होना चाहिए, पैशन अच्छा होना चाहिए. आइडिया कोई कीमत नहीं है, मैं ये बोलता हूं आपको, क्योंकि एवरीबॉडी हैज एन आइडिया. किसकी कीमत है ज्यादा? एग्जीक्यूशन की. There are only 5% of people who will say I'll do it. I'll do it year after year, day after day, week after week, hour and after hour. ये मैं हूं, मैं खड़ा हूं. So most of the investors never put the money on idea, because idea pivots, idea keeps on changing. In 2007, there was a very interesting article which was written by Chetan Bhagat. In 2007, he was selling books in the Delhi book fair. And there are 2 young boys come to him, sir, we have just started a small portal and we sell books online. Can we keep your books on our portal? I said, what's your name? My name is Sachin Bansal and I'm Benny Bansal. And we have a company called Flipkart. Actually, Chetan Bhagat made their statement 2000 later that these 2 people start selling books online. But today, if you search books on Flipkart, you will not find. That idea has flipped so many times. So many times it has flipped. They must have thought that book बेचेंगे, ऐसा करेंगे, वैसा करेंगे, और आप something different is happening. So who's going to execute those? So people have put in the money, $16 billion. One of the largest acquisition in the history of Indian startup ecosystem. $16 billion was paid by Walmart to acquire Flipkart. इतना पैसा अब तक किसी और को नहीं मिला. They exited. They are not a failed entrepreneur. Sunny and Sachin Bansal and Benny Bansal are successful entrepreneur क्योंकि उन्होंने business खड़ा किया. आज वो नुकसान में है तो उनकी problem थोड़ी है. Flipkart is not doing well. That is not their problem, because they are a successful entrepreneur. They built up the business, they sold it to Walmart, and they exited the business. So 3 components of the business creating the future. So last slide. The three components of the business future. First is creativity. Second is innovation. Third is entrepreneurship. And if you have three components, you can create actually future. Every idea is a good idea. Every idea is a great idea. If you are able to execute it well. Today, you want to get into the idea of making a t-shirt, which is the most basic cloth you can get. Every single person wear a t-shirt in some way or other, whether a man or a woman or a kid. That's a great idea to start a t-shirt company, but become the best t-shirt company in the world. There are companies which are making one product and they are doing extremely well. So think about it, that how do you create entrepreneurship? How do you create that particular product which you can do it for year after year, day after day, every day. And that will be your business idea. That will be your future, and that you have to live for 10, 20, 30 years of your life. And when you do that, you can actually meet Priyanka Chopra, because you can hire her, you can invite her to your home, ki madam or Priyanka or darling Priyanka, whatever you want to say. It depends on how much money you have, how much influence you have. Ki, would you like to go to Switzerland? And I will sponsor your trip. I'm sure Nick don't mind if you go. So dream and execute and make it happen. Then you can actually go to Switzerland and actually meet some of the best known people in the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Before you go, Yash, can I just request you to, can I request Mr. Ashish to please join us on stage and present a memento as a token of appreciation for mentoring this program and for being the Can we also have a group photograph of the panel before he leaves, please? And a token of appreciation to Dr. Nikhil Agarwal for such an interesting and detailed presentation. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you. So now I hand it over to Mr. Ashish Agarwal. He's the co-chair of the Startup Committee at PhD and Director of Resurgent India Limited. So he shall give his presentation and take you through a different factor of the startup journey. So.
या गुड आफ्टरनून. कैसा लग रहा है आप लोगों को? ओके, कल आप लोग थे कल? ओके, दिस इज द डेडिकेशन एक्चुअली. आई थिंक यहाँ पे करीब 100 लोग तो हैं ही. वी कैन एक्सपेक्ट कि 25% लोग तो यूनिकॉर्न बन ही जाएंगे. सो मैं आपको एक छोटी स्टोरी बताता हूँ चैम्बर की. जब हम लोगों ने ये स्टार्टअप कमेटी स्टार्ट किया था, तो पहला फंक्शन हमने किया, तो वी हैव नेम दिस प्रोग्राम माई इंडिया माई स्टार्टअप 100 यूनिकॉर्न बाय 2025. So that was the thought in 2018 actually. That time we were having only 4 I think unicorns. And there was a lot of debate. Mr. Kapil, I think this Mr. Bagla, Deepak Bagla was here from Invest India. He said, you have taken the larger target actually. This 100 unicorn by 2025 is a big number actually. And after that, NASSCOM, this is a association of IT companies. So they have taken the same target actually. And you see that our entrepreneur, the startups who are here in India, they have done wonderful actually. And within 3 years, from 2018 to 2022 to 21, actually we got 100 unicorns. Now we are talking 500 unicorn by 2025 actually. So this is the journey which our startup ecosystem is having. And whatever we are thinking today, it might not be relevant for tomorrow actually. It is very, very important that we should be by the fast forward. Otherwise, whatever we are doing, it might not be relevant for us or for the startup ecosystem tomorrow. So I'm seeing that here we have young people who are maybe students or they are into startup ecosystem or they must be doing some job. Then we have some people who are from the middle age. And yesterday, the minister was here, Jatinder Singh. He said that they have a successful startup which has been started by the people. Those are having age of 60 years plus actually. So there is no bar for the starting of the organization actually. There is no age, I think. So we should not think of that anybody who is of 20 years or 25 years is the right person for starting of the startup. So my topic is today funding actually. So I am part of Resurgent India. We are running a company called Resurgent India Limited, which is into investment banking and merchant banking. And we are helping day in, day out to the startups and the other organization in the funding requirement. So I'll try to discuss, or I'll try to give you the in and outs about the how to raise funding and what are the aspects of funding, who all are the investors, how to deal with them, what should be our preparation for funding. So these are the areas which I'll try to cover up, and I will request to all of you to make it more interactive. If you have any question, if you don't feel hesitate that I should not ask this question. Whatever question you have in your mind, you please ask, so that it will be helpful to others also. Those are sitting here, actually, they might be hesitating to ask the question, but the same questions must be in their mind of the other people also. So you please ask whatever you want to ask. I will try to give the reply. If I'll not be in a position to give the reply here, I'll take your number and will give you the reply later on. So that whenever you will go from here, at least you will know that how to raise funding for your startup at various stages actually. That will be helpful to you. So that is the objective of my discussion today. Anybody of you have raised funding till now? From any investors or anything? Maybe any angel investor or any VC fund or any other investor? Okay, good. So funding के लिए मैं एक बार आपसे इंटरेक्ट कर लेता हूँ कि आप व्हाट डू यू थिंक कि क्या क्या चीजें चाहिए जब आप इन्वेस्टर्स के पास जा रहे हैं फंड रेज करने के लिए? तो क्या क्या आपके पास होना चाहिए? ओके, बिजनेस प्लान, ओके, और क्या एनीथिंग? Okay, so prototype, if you are planning to do some product or make some product, then prototype should be there. But when you are in the service sector में तो prototype होगा नहीं कोई भी, तो good, correct. शार्क टैंक देखते हैं आप लोग? क्या 5 क्वेश्चंस क्या होते हैं इन्वेस्टर के? आई थिंक अगर आप 50 पिच देखा होगा आपने पूरा, ये सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन क्या होता है? सबसे पहला क्वेश्चन, you just remember, yeah. So this is the first priority. Any investor who want to invest money, they are investing in your idea or business, but before that they are investing in you actually. This applies in all across all investment decisions. Who is the person who is driving this? So I think Nikhil ji भी अभी थोड़ी देर पहले बात कर रहे थे. He also told the same thing, that who is the person who is running this show basically. उन्होंने कहा कि भाई आप 4 साल के बाद अगर आपका इंटरेस्ट नहीं है बिजनेस में, तो इन्वेस्टर वांट की आपकी कमिटमेंट क्या है बेसिकली. सो दैट इज द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन फॉर एनी इन्वेस्टर, एंड आई थिंक वहीं से केमिस्ट्री स्टार्ट होती है, वहीं से आपका एक बेट स्टार्ट होता है उसके साथ में कि भाई वो आगे जाना भी चाहता है या नहीं जाना चाहता है. तो शार्क टैंक इज ए गुड प्लेटफॉर्म टू आई थिंक सी इट, टू वॉच इट एंड टू एनालाइज की जो क्वेश्चंस हैं उसके क्या क्वेश्चंस आ रहे हैं, उन क्वेश्चंस में हम कहाँ फिट होते हैं. आई थिंक अगर हम उन 10 क्वेश्चंस को निकालें, उन 10 क्वेश्चंस में अपना एक आंसर बनाने की कोशिश करें एक सीट लेके, तो 80% हम विल अचीव द इन्वेस्टमेंट थीसिस की इन्वेस्टर के पास जाने से पहले हमें क्या क्या करना चाहिए बेसिकली. ऑल्दो इट इज इन शॉर्ट, उससे पहले तैयारी बहुत ज़्यादा होती है, उससे पहले बहुत सारी चीज़ें तैयार करनी पड़ती हैं, बहुत सारे आपको एनालिसिस रिसर्च करनी पड़ती है, जब भी आप इन्वेस्टर के पास जा पाते हो बेसिकली. सो this is one I think Shark Tank is one of the program जहाँ पे कि आप you can watch it and you can get many things which will help you to know. And Shark Tank में आपने देखा होगा कि वहाँ पे एक 17 साल का बच्चा भी है, वो भी एक स्टूडेंट है, वो भी फंड रेज करने के लिए आ रहा है, और एक 60 साल की कोई लेडी है, she is from a small town, she is also coming from she is coming for fundraising and she is also getting fund actually. तो वो भी एक मतलब एक एस्पेक्ट है कि ऐसा नहीं है कि हम लोग अगेन आई एम कमिंग ऑन दैट कि हम हमारी 25-30 साल की एज है तभी हम फंड रेज कर सकते हैं. 60 साल के हैं, 65 साल के, 70 साल के, देयर इज नो बार ऑन इट एक्चुअली. इन्वेस्टर के लिए ये कोई बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, डिपेंड ऑन दैट कि आप क्या बिजनेस करने जा रहे हैं उस पर डिपेंड करेगा. सो पहला क्वेश्चन होता है इन्वेस्टर का कि हु आर यू. दूसरा होता है ये को फाउंडर आपके कहाँ से मिले, कैसे मिले आप, आपका को फाउंडर के साथ केमिस्ट्री क्या है, क्योंकि बिजनेस इज ऑल, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इज ऑल बेसिकली द टीम वर्क. आप अपने विजन को, अपने थॉट को, अपने प्रोडक्ट को आप अपनी टीम के अंदर उसको एक प्रोसेस कर, टीम उसको अंडरस्टैंड करती है, उसको फॉलो करती है. सो इन्वेस्टर का सेकंड क्वेश्चन होता है कि भाई आपका जो फाउंडर है या जो को फाउंडर है वो आपको कैसे जानता है, कब से जानता है, और उसका आपके साथ क्या केमिस्ट्री है एक्चुअली. That is another area which I think so I think आज के डेट में अगर स्टार्टअप की बात करें तो most of the investors are comfortable if you have the co-founder actually. So that's another if you are thinking to go for starting a startup, you should always think that if you can get any co-founder of like-minded person, which is I think complementary, it is helping in your areas where you are not capable, he can add value in that actually, so that will also help you. So these are the stages of funding actually. There different kind of investors are there, different kind of funds are there, and you see जब आप स्टार्ट करते हैं तो पहले आप अपने यू आर स्टार्टिंग विथ योर ओन फंड और योर ओन मनी, योर फैमिली मनी, और योर फादर का जो यू आर टेकिंग सम मनी फ्रॉम योर फादर, देन यू आर स्टार्टिंग, एंड आफ्टर दैट यू आर गोइंग टू योर फैमिली, फ्रेंड्स एंड रिलेटिव्स कि भी if they can invest in their business, then in your business that will be helpful to them also, they can make some money out of that. After that so we called it seed money actually. Seed money एक छोटा ही पैसा होता है जो कि आपको बिजनेस को स्टार्ट करना है, और जैसे भाई साहब ने कहा कि हम प्रोटोटाइप एक तो स्टेज तक पहुंचने के लिए यू नीड सम मनी which might be of your saving or your family money or your friends or relatives money. Although there are some investors, those are giving seed money also, but there are very few actually people are there. So then the second stage is the angel money actually. So angel, there are many angel funds are there in the country. like Mumbai Angel, India Angel, UP Angel. So UP Angel is our partner here also. So these angel funds are looking the investment at the initial stage. Whenever you have done something, you have reached to some stage and you approach them, then they will evaluate your idea, your product and all, and then they will invest money. So they are taking higher risk when they are investing in your business. The second, then the BC funds. So BC funds are, again, they are the larger ticket size investments, but they are more organized, more professional. They have their own mandate to invest in different sectors and different areas, different geographies. So BC funds will come after the angel funds. Then the PE funds, actually. The PE fund, the difference between PE fund and the BC fund is that actually PE funds are investing in the established businesses, private equity funds actually. So they are investing at the stage when you have raised the angel fund, you have raised BC fund, and you have established the business, you have reached to a certain size, and now you want to expand further actually. Then the PE funds will come in your business actually. And after that, there'll be a maturity stage. Then you can go for IPO, you can go for M&A and all these things. So these are the stages of the private equity funds. There are some buyout funds also. So incubator will come at your very initial stage before seed fund actually. Incubator is coming at the stage when you are having some idea, some concept in your mind. You want to implement that idea, where you will go. So incubator is a platform where the ecosystem is there. They will give you space. They will give you mentoring. They will give you the I think softwares also to work there. You can be there for 3 months, 6 months. You can develop your idea actually so that it should be viable for the your commercial purpose actually. So incubator is coming, but the incubator generally are not giving funds actually. There are very few incubators, those are giving funds actually. But government has some scheme where they are giving the some grant or some fund to the startups. Those are having the space or they are working with some incubator. So this is possible actually. So these are the stages which I told you. Yeah, so many incubators are having mentors. Actually, they are practically they are helping in mentoring actually, because आप उस समय जा रहे हैं जब आपको कुछ नहीं पता, आपको बिजनेस का ABCD नहीं पता, तो आप इसीलिए जा रहे हैं वहाँ पे कि आपको वहाँ पे मेंटर मिलेगा, आपको वहाँ पे एक एनवायरनमेंट मिलेगा, वहाँ पे आपको, तो उसी के लिए आप जा रहे हैं बेसिकली. सो मेंटर आर प्रोवाइडिंग बाय द इंक्यूबेटर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. सो दिस इज आई थिंक अभी ये रिलेवेंट नहीं है बिकॉज अभी हम सब लोग स्टार्टअप और इनिशियल स्टेज पे हैं. तो दिस इज द मार्केट की BC फंड और प्राइवेट इक्विटी फंड्स ने कितना इन्वेस्टमेंट किया इंडिया में और क्या ग्रोथ हुई उसकी. तो मोटा मोटी ये थोड़ा पुराना है, बट लास्ट टू लास्ट ईयर देयर वर 1500 डील्स इन दी BC मार्केट और प्राइवेट इक्विटी मार्केट. सो 1500 डील थी, करीब 40 मिलियन के आस, $40 बिलियन वाज इन्वेस्टेड. कुछ दिस ईयर 2022-23 में वो घट के 70% रह गया है, बिकॉज 2021-22 वाज द हाईएस्ट in terms of the number of deals and the volume of the deal also, value of the deal. But this year it has gone down because you are, I think आप लोग भी, because you have interest in the startup and funding, you'll be listening funding winter आ गया थोड़ा सा, तो वो कहीं ना कहीं the mindset has changed of the investor. They are more interested in the profitable startups. So many startups, those were not profitable, they could not get funding, which they were in a position to get in the last to last year actually. So average deal size, I think it is not relevant for us as of today. So these are three categories of investors which I already told you. These are the instruments of raising funding actually. So one is plain vanilla equity shares. So whenever you are starting your company, you will subscribe some shares, then you will raise money from your family friends, and you will give some shares to them. And after that, whenever investor will come, so either you can give them the equity shares, or some of the investors are comfortable in the preference shares. We are convertible, fully convertible, partially convertible. These are the instruments of raising funds from the different investors. Then the debentures are also there. So if you see on the Shark Tank again, Shark Tank is a very good tool for raising funding actually. If you'll go through in detail, you'll get a lot of things actually. आपने देखा होगा कि एक startup, somebody there, he said मुझे 1 crore रुपए चाहिए. Then the sharks are saying that ठीक है मैं आपको 50 लाख तो देता हूँ लेकिन 50 लाख मैं आपको debt दूंगा. This is a 10% kind of return, or maybe 0 return, or maybe 12% return. So why this is there actually? So this debenture comes in the picture actually. They generally issue the debenture. The startups are issuing the debenture and they are getting money in the form of loan actually. So it's a mix of debt and equity. But most of the BC funds are giving the equity actually, either in the form of direct equity or the convertible instrument. So this is very important to know you as a startup or as a startup entrepreneur कि मेरे को जब फंड रेज करना है तो मेरे को डेट का रिक्वायरमेंट ज्यादा होगा या मेरे को इक्विटी का रिक्वायरमेंट ज्यादा होगा. और अगर क्योंकि डेट में क्या है कि डेट में यू हैव टू पे दी रेगुलर इंटरेस्ट ऑन दैट एक्चुअली. सो वो आपको यू हैव टू सी कि आपका बिजनेस उतना कैश फ्लो जनरेट कर पाएगा या नहीं कर पाएगा. इफ यू विल कमिट फॉर डेट, यू विल टेक द डेट, टुमारो इट माइट बी ए प्रॉब्लम कि आपको सैलरी कॉस्ट भी सैलरी भी देनी है, ओवरहेड्स भी करने हैं और आपको डेट का इंटरेस्ट भी निकालना है. सो it should be very thought I think decided in advance that हमें डेट में जाना है या नहीं जाना है, which will help you to take that funding. वो आपका आएगा बिजनेस प्लान फाइनेंशियल मॉडल, which I'll come later on. इसमें कोई क्वेश्चन आपका? these things are very important actually. किसी को कन्वर्टेबल इंस्ट्रूमेंट पे कोई क्वेश्चन हो या जिसमें एक क्वेश्चन ये भी आता है कि भाई कितना इक्विटी डाइल्यूट करना चाहिए हमारे को, किस स्टेज पे करना चाहिए. सो दैट्स व्हाई दीस कन्वर्टेबल इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स आर देयर. सो दिस इज द प्रोसेस ऑफ रेजिंग फंडिंग एक्चुअली. सो आप अगर देखें तो पहले तो हमें ये बिजनेस प्लान, somebody has told, I think you told business plan. So बिजनेस प्लान क्या है एक्चुअली? बिजनेस प्लान practically whatever you want to do, you have to write. You have to present to the investor actually, where you have to write about yourself, about your product, your competition, and your next 3-4 years journey, how you will grow further in your business, vision and mission actually, market, how the total addressable market is there actually, and what will be of your share in that market actually, who all are your competitor. So all these things are required to be given in the business plan. So roughly it's a document of maybe 20 to 30 pages, or maybe 20 to 40 pages document. It can be in the form of the Word document, or today I think the most of the investors are comfortable in the PPT format actually. So if you can prepare it in a PPT format, that will help you to, I think, get the attention of the investors. So this is one document. It takes some time to get it prepared. You can do it yourself, and if you are not in a position to do it yourself because I think you are busy in your many things, so then you can take the help of the CA firms. Those are so there are CA firms which are doing this kind of job. Then the merchant bankers are there, like us, Resurgent India. So we help you to work out on this business plan, that how this should be shown, and how what are the areas which should be covered here. So we have experts, those will help you. Yeah, you can say DPR. DPR is really for the debt raising up when you are raising loan or debt basically. So DPR, but DPR actually is more of focusing on the project which you are setting up actually. Here you have to give a lot of information related to the competition and the research. I think more should be more research oriented actually. And so DPR has set format actually. Business plan is not having any set format, but there are experts who will help you. But this should be ready before reaching to any investor. There are exceptions. I think yesterday somebody told, I think in this unicorns chat that he had not prepared the business plan and he could get 400 crore of business actually. But these are exceptions actually. So don't carry it away with these things, because business plan will help you to know yourself also, to your business also, to your journey for next 3-4 years. So that is very, very important. Then the financial model, we call this this financial model and information memorandum, pitch deck and teasers. So pitch deck is the part of only the business plan practically, but the financial model is very important actually, because investors would like to see that the founder is having the understanding of the finance or not actually. Finance in the sense they are not required, you are not required to have the detailed understanding, but you should know that what would be your top line, what would be your expenses, what would be your profitability, and the money which you are asking, how it will be utilized also, when it will be utilized actually. So this financial model is an, I think, document which is very, very important. So at least we should showcase at least 5 years of our projections or the financials, how it will look like. And it also takes some time. यहाँ पे आपको, you have to predict your sales, you have to predict your expenses, and you have to divide in bits and pieces. So ऐसा नहीं है कि आपने कहा कि मैं 5 करोड़ की सेल करूंगा, मैं 2 करोड़ का मेरा एक्सपेंस हो जाएगा. It will not help you actually. They want to understand कि 2 करोड़ रुपए जो खर्चा होगा वो कहाँ होगा, किस सेगमेंट में होगा. They'll ask कि month wise आप बताइए कि month wise कैसे होगा. So we should go in that deep actually. So this financial model will help you to know all these things. So whenever any expert is making the financial model, they are dividing in bits and pieces. There are 100 sheets which are part of the financial Excel sheets which are part of the financial model, which will help you to know your the future of your business in terms of finance, P&L and balance sheets and the cash flows. So and the financial ratios are there actually कि आपका return on equity क्या होगा, आपका बाकी आपके जो other parameters हैं वो क्या होंगे, कितना पैसा आपका inventory में जाएगा, कितना पैसा आपका marketing में जाएगा. All these things are there which need to be decided in advance. And so this document is also important. These two documents are very, very important. Industry analysis is the part of your business plan itself. आपने देखा होगा Shark Tank में वो, I think some deals could not be done because the founders were not aware the competition actually. Competition, they were asking this आपका size, industry का size क्या है, या दूसरे जो player है industry के वो कौन है, उनका क्या business model है, क्या उनका size है, क्या वो profit कर रहे हैं, क्या turnover कर रहे हैं. तो ये सब चीजें भी इस financial plan का part है और business plan का part है, जहाँ पे आपको ये you have to cover it up basically. तो इसके लिए क्या है कि बहुत सी बार आप लोग बोलेंगे कि भी फाइनेंशियल मेरे को जो कंपटीशन अंडरस्टैंडिंग को कैसे आएगी, बिकॉज पब्लिक में तो डेटा अवेलेबल नहीं. सो द एजेंसीज आर देयर, those are merchant bankers and all, we people are having the databases of different databases where the all information is available कि उसने किस फंडिंग को कब लिया और किस वैल्यूएशन पे लिया, कितना डायल्यूशन किया, वो सारे डेटाबेसेज अवेलेबल हैं जो कि जो मर्चेंट बैंकर्स हैं, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट्स हैं, जो लोग इन्वॉल्व हैं, उनके पास ये डेटाबेसेज होते हैं. तो दिस विल हेल्प, वो आपको एक पीयर कंपैरिजन विल गिव यू इन द मैट्रिक्स. दिस विल आल्सो हेल्प. देन द यूएसपी डेफिनेटली इज वन ऑफ द, आई थिंक आपका बिजनेस यूएसपी क्या है वो आपको पता होना चाहिए. इसमें एक चीज और छोड़ दी मैंने जो कि इसमें वी हैव नॉट रिटन, बेसिकली द वैल्यूएशन. आपको ये भी पता होना चाहिए कि आपका बिजनेस का वैल्यूएशन क्या होना चाहिए आज की जिस स्टेज पे आप इन्वेस्टर के पास जा रहे हैं. उसके लिए भी you need the help of the experts. Many times, because we are investment banker, merchant banker, we are seeing that somebody is coming to raise funding. He said कि मेरे सेगमेंट में एक कंपनी है, उसका $100 billion का वैल्यूएशन है, तो आप मैंने भी स्टार्ट किया तो मेरा 50 million तो होना चाहिए बेसिकली, एंड दे आर स्टिक ऑन दैट कि 50 million होगा तो फंड रेज करेंगे. सो इट इज नॉट लाइक दैट एक्चुअली. वैल्यूएशन इज अगेन ए प्रोसेस. वो देयर आर मेथड्स ऑफ वैल्यूएशन. एक DCF मेथड बोलते हैं इसको, डिस्काउंटेड कैश फ्लो मेथड, जो आपके फाइनेंशियल मॉडल से निकल के आता है कि आपका फाइनेंशियल मॉडल. देन पीयर कंपैरिजन इज देयर एक्चुअली. सो नेट एसेट वैल्यू मेथड इज देयर एक्चुअली. सो प्रैक्टिकली we have to have this valuation done in advance before reaching to the investor. ये तीनों चीजें आपको हेल्प करेंगी to understand more about your business and to interact with the investors. You will be more confident whenever you are talking. Then again so as I told you, valuation के लिए government has authorized valuers. So they can, but at the initial stage, if you are going for raising funding, that time if you are getting valuation from chartered accountants or the merchant bankers and all, it will help you basically. Finally, जब आपका डील हो जाता है, तब वो ड्यू डिलिजेंस का पार्ट होता है कि उनको एक वैल्यूएशन रिपोर्ट चाहिए होता है सर्टिफाइड वैल्यूअर से. That is a part of document actually once the deal is done. But the initial valuation के लिए you can take the help of the people who are in this segment. Now the question comes how you will identify your investors actually. Abhi, you'll see that there are thousands of investors are there. Who is relevant for you? Who can give money to you? आपको चाहिए 5 करोड़ रुपए, आप इन्वेस्टर के पास पहुंच गए जो 500 करोड़ रुपए का मिनिमम टिकट साइज है उसका. So it will be, I think, waste your time actually. And investor will not give you the attention also. So then again कि वो investor हमारे को जो चाहिए वो financial investor चाहिए कि हमें strategic investor चाहिए. That is another aspect which I think we should keep in mind. So what is the difference between the financial investor and strategic investor? Financial investor is basically the investor who is raising money from the investors, and they are investing for getting return on that, and they will return money to the investors after a certain period with some return on that actually. So their objective is to invest, grow that business, and to exit after a certain time actually. Strategic investors are more basically, those are the companies or the organizations. Those are in the same kind of business, may not be directly related to you, but there is some ecosystem where they can help you in your growth actually. So these are the people who are the strategic investor. They will invest, they will grow this business, and might be later on they may buy out that business also. So the strategic investors are like that actually. So we have to decide in advance whether we want to go to the financial investor and the strategic investor. As I told you that ticket size के हिसाब से investors are there. अब आपको कैसे पता लगेगा कि कौन सा investor है, उसका क्या ticket size है? So one way that you have to have the all database. You have to search कि कौन सा investor है जो आपका size का investment है उसमें invest कर सकता है. So all investors are having this mandate कि उनको किस ticket size में invest करना है, किस sector में invest करना है, tech company में करना है कि traditional company में करना है. So they have their mandate actually. One way that you can go through the website of these investors, you can get the basic information, then you can decide कि किसके पास जाना है. और experts are there like us, जहाँ हम लोग database है, हमारे पास 5,000 investors का database है, उनका पूरा हमारे पास excels हैं कि तो we can know immediately कि आपने कहा मेरे को health care में, health tech में मेरा business है, मुझे health tech में raise करना है, मुझे 5 करोड़ रुपए raise करना है. I will put it that filter in my database. I'll get कि these are 50 investors. Those are investors in healthcare sector or health tech sector, or they want to invest up to 5 crore rupees in any of the business actually. So this will help you to get it faster. Otherwise, there is a very long exercise. You have to search the website of the investor. You have to find out कौन होगा, कौन नहीं होगा. So investors भी क्या है कि there are different kind of investors. They are sitting in India. Some are sitting outside India actually. That is another challenge. So I'll say that the advisors will help you to, your mentors will help you to identify which are the investors who can invest in your business. Then sector is another area. Yeah, please. PhD की वेबसाइट पे नहीं है अभी. So गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का SEBI दी रेगुलेटरी एजेंसी, सिक्योरिटी एक्सचेंज बोर्ड ऑफ इंडिया, उन जो भी इन्वेस्टर इंडिया में अगर इन्वेस्ट करना है उसको एक रजिस्ट्रेशन सर्टिफिकेट लेना होता है गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया से, SEBI से. तो SEBI की साइट पे आपको लिस्ट मिल जाएगा कि कौन कौन से इन्वेस्टर हैं जो इंडिया में काम कर रहे हैं. उनका आपको you can get the list, then you can go on the website of these investors. So आज की डेट में अगर आप वो वेबसाइट में जाएंगे और आप will search be called AIF, Alternative Investment Funds. आप अगर उस वेबसाइट पे जाके देखेंगे तो आपको कम से कम 1200 इन्वेस्टर का लिस्ट मिलेगा एक्चुअली. अब 1200 इन्वेस्टर में से ये छांटना कि आपको आपके मतलब का कौन सा इन्वेस्टर है, आप मान के चलिए एक इन्वेस्टर की वेबसाइट खोलना 1 घंटे लगाना, आपको कितने घंटे आपको इन्वेस्ट होंगे उस चीज पे. सो वी नीड टू कीप दैट, हाउ टू सेव द टाइम आल्सो. सो once we are prepared with all these documents, we have identified the investors and all basically, then we have to pitch for the investment, we have to approach them. So इसमें हम approach कैसे करना है, that is also important actually. तो इसमें तरीका यही है कि these investors are having very small team, their offices are either in Mumbai, Bangalore, Delhi, Chennai, these cities they have offices. तो इसका best तरीका है कि we should write a mail to these investors, to their managing partners, that this is our business plan and we want to raise money. and this is our contact detail. We would like to meet you or we would like to speak you. So you'll get the response from them within 1 or 2 days, or maybe maximum within 8 days, whether they are interested or not interested actually. So approaching of the investor is very, very important. And whenever you are approaching, to whom you are approaching and what document you are attaching with your mail, so that it should get attention actually. So generally when we are approaching to the investors, we are not going with the complete financial model or business model actually. Otherwise, they will also lost. What will happen? They'll see 100-page documents. They'll say that whenever they will get time, they will see it actually. So there is a document called teaser. It's a 2-page document, which is summary of all these information which you have prepared. We generally send this 2-page document to them so that they can get it, they can read it immediately, or they can decide whether they want to go further or not actually. So we should not dump all the information to the investor. We should not think they are sitting idle for us. We will send them and they will read it and they will jump ki hum aapko investment karte hain. So there is a process. We should send the crisp information, let them show the interest, whether it falls in their thesis, whether it falls in their mandate, or whether they will be interested for that opportunity or not actually. So that is important. And after all these rounds, the discussions and the investors are agreed, then the negotiation will come in the picture. So the negotiation will be on the various covenants in terms of your dilution of equity, your board seat. They'll ask for many other covenant, exit opportunities, and all these things are there, which are to be discussed and be decided. इसमें आप अपने mentors की help ले सकते हैं, अपने advisors की help ले सकते हैं, क्योंकि यहाँ काफी to and fro होता है इसमें. It's not like that कि वो आपने बोला उन्होंने मान लिया या उन्होंने बोला आपने मान लिया actually. We have to have the region also कि ये negotiation हमारा जो है वो it should be based on the regions actually. तो उसमें there are many things. आपको if you want to ask any question, I think इस पे हमें discussion करना चाहिए. आप लोगों के view जाने चाहिए कि आप लोगों को negotiation करना है तो उस समय क्या क्या चीजें हो सकती हैं और उस पर क्या negotiation करना चाहिए, कैसे करना चाहिए. So there are 3-4 areas are there कि covenants है. Covenants में major है कि भाई आपका वो board seat मांगते हैं आपसे, आपका equity dilution मांगते हैं आपसे, exit की opportunities मांगते हैं. कल आपका business अच्छा नहीं कर रहा तो वो they want many rights कि भाई वो इसको sell कर सकते हैं दूसरे investors को. So these things will come in the negotiation as a part of term sheet or the agreement. इसमें आप लोगों को कोई question है, you want to understand more, or you want to discuss, I think we can have 2-3 questions on that. If anybody is having. So negotiation सब जगह वही होता है. आप सब्जी वाले से negotiation करते हैं, वो भी negotiation है, ये भी negotiation है. So don't be afraid कि कोई different kind of negotiation. But here we have to have a negotiation with the certain reasoning and certain based on certain data actually. It should not be the baseless negotiation actually. तो वो तो आपने फाइनेंशियल प्लान बनाया, बिजनेस मॉडल बनाया, यू नो एवरीथिंग नाउ बेसिकली. जब आपका फाइनेंशियल मॉडल बन गया, बिजनेस प्लान बन गया, तो आई थिंक यू हैव कंप्लीट इन्फॉर्मेशन कि आपका बिजनेस 5 साल में कैसे बिहेव करेगा. डेफिनेटली फ्यूचर इज नॉट इन द हैंड्स ऑफ एनीबॉडी, बट एटलीस्ट यू नो कि आप अगर मेहनत करोगे, आप काम करोगे, आप इसको बिजनेस को बढ़ाओगे, तो यू कैन रीच टू दैट स्टेज एक्चुअली. तो उसी के बेसिस पे डिस्कशन हो रहा है सारा का सारा. अभी आपने देखा होगा कि नेगोशिएशन शार्क टैंक में भी होते हैं, वो वैल्यूएशन के ऊपर. अभी कल ही मैं कुछ देख रहा था, कोई हाईएस्ट वैल्यूएशन किसी ने मांगा था 1200 करोड़ का. I think this is the highest valuation which has been asked by somebody in Shark Tank actually. आपको अगर correct तो somehow you could not get the money actually. अगर वो reasonable valuation होता तो वो I think business उनको valuation मतलब पैसा मिल जाता. तो we should not be very hyperbolic कि भी बहुत ज़्यादा हमने hyper valuation मांग लिया तो वो भी investors का interest lose कर देगा basically. तो आपने देखा होगा कि वो वैल्यूएशन में बहुत सारे गैप्स आते हैं. बोर्ड सीट वगैरह शार्क टैंक में डिस्कस नहीं होती बिकॉज दिस इज आई थिंक दे आर डूइंग ऑफलाइन. सो देयर कैन बी मे बी एन नंबर ऑफ थिंग्स इन दी नेगोशिएशन व्हिच विल कम, बट वी शुड नॉट जंप इन वेरी फास्ट इन दी नेगोशिएशन कि आज कोई डिस्कशन हुआ और हमने इमीडिएटली क्लोज कर दिया. वी शुड थिंक ऑफ कि हमारे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के बेनिफिट में क्या है. और वी शुड एडवाइज टेक द एडवाइस ऑफ द लॉयर्स आल्सो, बिकॉज मेनी टाइम्स कुछ कोवेनेंट्स ऐसे होते हैं जो कि आपको बाद में दिक्कत कर सकते हैं। और कुछ चीजें ऐसी होती हैं कि हमें उस समय अगर फंडिंग लेना है तो हमें कुछ एग्री भी, कंप्रोमाइज भी करना है अपने आप से। ऐसा भी नहीं है कि वी शुड बी रिजिड, बिकॉज अदरवाइज हो सकता है कि वो इन्वेस्टर इन्वेस्ट ही ना करे। सो दीज आर दी areas which we need to keep in mind in the negotiation side. Then the due diligence, so whenever any investor is investing, तो एक पहला प्रोसेस होता है, वो टर्म शीट आपको देते हैं, टर्म शीट एग्री करते हैं आप लोग, फिर उसके बाद वो ड्यू डिलिजेंस स्टार्ट करते हैं। तो उसमें वो लॉयर्स को अपॉइंट करते हैं, फाइनेंशियल फर्म्स जो अकाउंटिंग फर्म्स होती हैं उनको अपॉइंट करते हैं, और दे डू द ड्यू डिलिजेंस अबाउट योर कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स, योर फाइनेंशियल्स, और आपके जो भी बिजनेस के जो कमिटमेंट्स हैं, तो उसमें वो देखते हैं कि आपने जो भी अकाउंटिंग किया है, जो भी आपका पैसा आ रहा है जा रहा है, वो सारा प्रैक्टिकली अकाउंटिंग हो रहा है नहीं हो रहा है, एंड आपके जो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स हैं वो सारे वैलिड हैं या नहीं है, कोई उसमें लीकेज तो नहीं है, आपके ड्यू जो गवर्नमेंट को आपने देने हैं वो कहीं आपके लैप्सेज तो नहीं है उसमें। सो देयर आर मैनी थिंग्स विच दीज फर्म्स आर डूइंग एंड लुकिंग इन द ड्यू डिलिजेंस। उसमें आई थिंक इट टेक्स 10 to 15 days मिनिमम दिस ड्यू डिलिजेंस। इसका एक कॉस्ट भी होता है, बिकॉज एवरी इन्वेस्टर इज इंटरेस्टेड टू गेट द ड्यू डिलिजेंस फ्रॉम द रेपुटेड फर्म्स। तो इसका एक रफली आप मान के चलिए कि 5 लाख से लेके 25-30 लाख रुपए का कॉस्ट भी होता है, जो कि जनरली जो स्टार्टअप्स या कंपनीज होती हैं उनको बियर करना पड़ता है। सो we need to see that whenever due diligence is started, I think all the documents should be ready so that it should be done fast actually. Closure, I think then we have to see कि उसका जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं उनको जो भी उनकी साइनिंग है उसके कौन साइन करेगा, हमें जो पैसा लेना है वो हमें कितने ट्रेंचेज में लेना है, कब लेना है, इन सब चीज़ों पे भी देयर आर लॉट ऑफ डिस्कशंस आर देयर, एंड दिस शेयर होल्डिंग एग्रीमेंट वन ऑफ द इम्पोर्टेंट डॉक्यूमेंट, जहाँ पे कि हमें वो क्लोजर के टाइम पे उसमें वी हैव टू सी ऑल क्लोजर्स एंड ऑल आइटम्स ऑफ दी SHA। एंड एज ए फाउंडर आई विल सजेस्ट कि बहुत सी बार लोग गलतियां कर जाते हैं, बिकॉज आई हैव सीन इन माय जर्नी इन 25 years कि बाद में लोगों को देन दे थिंक यार ये तो गलती कर दी हमने, ये क्लॉज देखा ही नहीं था। सो वी शुड बी केयरफुल, समटाइम यू हैव टू एक्सेप्ट इट, बट यू शुड नो इट कि आपने एक्सेप्ट किया ये चीज, वो कहीं ना कहीं जो आपको हेल्प करेगा। अदरवाइज माइट बी डिफिकल्ट फॉर यू आफ्टर 3-4 years, जब आपको लार्जर राउंड रेज करना है, आपको दूसरे इन्वेस्टर को लेके आना है, इट माइट क्रिएट ए प्रॉब्लम एक्चुअली। देखिए इन्वेस्टर अपना इंटरेस्ट देखेगा, आपको अपना इंटरेस्ट देखना है। व्हेन आई एम टॉकिंग टू यू टुडे, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट यू एक्चुअली, आई विल गाइड यू, आई विल हेल्प यू बेसिकली कि आपको क्या देखना चाहिए। व्हेन आई टॉकिंग टू द इन्वेस्टर, आई विल गाइड टू द इन्वेस्टर कि उनको क्या देखना चाहिए। तो आप, आई एम टॉकिंग ऑल दीज थिंग्स जो आपके हित में है, आपके फेवर में है बेसिकली। तो इसमें आपको जो भी क्वेश्चन है वो आप यू कैन आस्क दिस क्वेश्चन, क्योंकि ये सारी चीजें आपको हेल्प करेंगी जब आप इन्वेस्टर के पास फंड रेज करने के लिए जाएंगे। या एवरीथिंग यू हैव टू शोकेस टू। उसमें क्या होता है, हम लोग NDA साइन करते हैं पहले, एक नॉन डिस्क्लोजर एग्रीमेंट साइन करते हैं इन्वेस्टर्स के साथ में, और उसके बाद हम उनको, अदरवाइज वो दे विल नॉट बी विलिंग टू इन्वेस्ट एक्चुअली, दे वांट टू सी व्हाटएवर यू आर सेइंग, इट शुड बी शोन टू देम आल्सो बेसिकली, पूरी इंफॉर्मेशन। वो किस स्टेज पे देनी है वो डिपेंड करेगा, आपकी जो डील फ्लो जब चल रहा है उस समय आपको टर्म शीट से पहले देनी है, टर्म शीट के बाद देनी है, दैट डिपेंड ऑन वेरियस फैक्टर्स। तो एग्जिट, मैं लास्ट से स्टार्ट करता हूँ। एग्जिट इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट, बिकॉज हर इन्वेस्टर को ये चिंता होती है मैंने पैसा डाल दिया, पैसा मेरा वापस कब आएगा, कैसे आएगा बेसिकली। सो दे वांट टू सी एग्जिट, दिस इज इम्पोर्टेंट। Then they want to have the board seat actually, this their involvement in the business actually, so they want कि भी उनके वोटिंग राइट्स क्या होंगे, उनके वोट सीट्स क्या होंगे बेसिकली। तीसरी चीज है कि बिजनेस, कल अगर कोई बिजनेस में प्रॉब्लम आती है तो व्हाट विल बी द फेट ऑफ दैट एक्चुअली। सो वो क्या वो इसको दूसरे इन्वेस्टर को सेल कर सकते हैं या उसमें वो टेक ओवर कर सकते हैं कंपनी को, वो सारी चीजें उसके अंदर। तो ये 3 थिंग्स आर देयर। डायल्यूशन इज वन थिंग, वो तो पहले ही आपका डिस्कशन हो जाएगा, उसके बाद ही ये चीजें आएंगी। तो ये these 3 things are very very important actually. No, this I am saying from the startup point of view कि startups को ये इन्वेस्टर ये मांगते हैं, स्टार्टअप को देखना चाहिए कि वो ये जो चीजें मांग रहे हैं वो उसमें हमारा कोई आगे जाके कोई नुकसान तो नहीं होने वाला उस चीज से। सपोज कोई इन्वेस्टर 5% इक्विटी ले रहा है आपकी कंपनी में, ही सेइंग कि मुझे 2 डायरेक्टर चाहिए, तो देन यू शुड हैव दिस गट्स फॉर दिस थिंग कि यू कैन कन्विंस टू हिम दैट मैं आपको एक ही सीट दे सकता हूं, बिकॉज अगेन टुमारो व्हाट विल बी द सिचुएशन कि आपको दूसरे इन्वेस्टर्स को लेके दे विल आल्सो आस्क द बोर्ड सीट। तो वो सब चीजें हमें वी हैव टू कीप इन माइंड। डायल्यूशन में भी है, जैसे कल जो हम बात कर रहे थे शार्क टैंक में, काफी कंपनीज में ऐसा हुआ कि वो उन्होंने पहले ही 40% डायल्यूशन कर दिया एंड दे हैव कम टू द शार्क टैंक कि भैया मेरे को 10% और करना है, 5% और करना है। तो द क्वेश्चन ऑफ द शार्क स्पॉट है कि आप ऑलरेडी 40% डायल्यूशन करके बैठे हो, मेरे से 1 करोड़ रुपए लोगे, तो प्रैक्टिकली देखा जाए तो आपके हाथ में कुछ बचेगा ही नहीं। Either you are a big company, then you are saying कि भी मेरे को और डायल्यूशन करना है, बट देन यू आर स्मॉल, इज वेरी स्मॉल एंड यू आर डायल्यूटेड टू मच, तो देन आप आगे कंपनी आप कैसे ग्रो करोगे? आगे पैसा चाहिएगा तो पैसा कैसे रेज करोगे कंपनी? या प्लीज, सॉरी। Good question. I think I was expecting this question because all of you are at the seed stage actually, what I can understand. So इसमें क्या होता है कि although valuation का जो process है वो it is based on your business plan कि भी आप ठीक है, आपका you are not having the sales of today, but आपका जो product है आप किस रेट पे बेचोगे ये तो आपको बेसिकली उससे क्या मार्जिन बन सकता है आपका, नहीं बन सकता है। So वन मैथ इज दैट कि वो आपका एक डीसीएफ वैल्यूएशन आएगा निकल के, विच इज बेंचमार्क। दूसरा पीयर कंपैरिजन जो मार्केट में और जो कंपनीज हैं उस सेगमेंट में उनका वैल्यूएशन क्या है एज ऑफ टुडे, और जब उन्होंने फर्स्ट राउंड किया तो क्या वैल्यूएशन था। तीसरा होता है कि इन्वेस्टर्स, सम इन्वेस्टर्स आर देयर, दे हैविंग बेस वैल्यूएशन कि भाई कोई फाउंडर है जो हाईली एजुकेटेड है, उसका उसने कोई जो आइडिया है उसमें they have invested some time, some money actually, so they have base valuation कि भाई इसका जनरली कुछ केसेज में जो मैंने देखा है उसमें वो $1 मिलियन का एक मिनिमम वैल्यूएशन लेके चलते हैं कि हम लेटेस्ट से कि भी एक आपने स्टार्ट किया है, एक सर्टेन स्टेज पे आप पहुंचे हो, आपका प्रोडक्ट अभी तैयार नहीं हुआ है या आपका कॉमर्शियल ऑपरेशन चालू नहीं हुआ है, बट यू हैव दैट पोटेंशियल कि हम आपको एक मिनिमम वैल्यूएशन, तो 1 मिलियन मतलब 7-8 करोड़ का वैल्यूएशन एक मान के चलते हैं, दैट्स द बेस वैल्यूएशन। जैसे कि हम आपको 50 लाख रुपए 1 करोड़ रुपए देते हैं and you grow the business, then the final the outcome of the valuation will come कि आपकी जो proper valuation है वो क्या होनी चाहिए। Sometime the investors are saying कि हम valuation decide नहीं कर सकते इस समय, we'll give you money but we'll give you the convertible money, convertible in the sense they'll not, you will not issue the equity at that time, they'll say कि आप 50 लाख रुपए ले लीजिएगा, आपका एक स्टेज जब पहुंच जाएगा 2 साल के बाद 1 साल के बाद, then we will decide कि what will be your valuation actually, और जब आप सेकंड राउंड करेंगे, जब हम बड़ा इन्वेस्टर लेके आएंगे, जो वैल्यूएशन होगा उस पर हम कन्वर्ट कर लेंगे या उसका कोई डिस्काउंट कर लेंगे। सो दीज आर 3-4 एरियाज, आई थिंक 3-4 वेज ऑफ डूइंग इट एक्चुअली, बट नथिंग इज फिक्स कि भाई आपका वो वैल्यूएशन अगर आप जीरो स्टेज पे है या इन टर्म्स ऑफ रेवेन्यू जीरो स्टेज है तो वैल्यूएशन क्या होना चाहिए। बट जनरली बेस वैल्यूएशन मतलब 7-8 करोड़ का एक मान के चलिए वो रहता है, बट नॉट एट द आइडिया स्टेज, यू हैव डन समथिंग, यू हैव रीच्ड टू समवेयर एक्चुअली। रजिस्टर दी कंपनी तो उस समय तो कोई वैल्यूएशन होता नहीं है, उस समय तो आप एक तरीके से फेस वैल्यू पे ही आप, वो तो फेस वैल्यू है बेसिकली, उस समय कोई आपको प्रीमियम नहीं मिल रहा अपनी इक्विटी के ऊपर। सो capital is one thing, the face value is one thing actually, it is not the criteria for the valuation getting the premium on that actually, premium will come on the basis of your business, जो भी आप बिजनेस करना चाह रहे हैं उसका क्या स्केलेबिलिटी है, उसमें क्या मार्जिन्स होंगे, कब प्रॉफिटेबल होंगे, उन सब चीजों के ऊपर है बेसिकली। तो आप कंपनी तो 1 लाख रुपए से भी स्टार्ट कर सकते हो इंडिया में, आपने 1 लाख रुपए अपने लगाए और आपने कंपनी स्टार्ट कर दी, दैट इज पॉसिबल, बट वो दैट इज नॉट द बेस ऑफ वैल्यूएशन। कुछ अभी आपने देखा होगा कि जो शार्क टैंक में आपने देखा हो तो वो बोलते हैं कि भाई हमारा आपका 50 लाख रुपए मंथ का रन रेट है, 6 करोड़ रुपए का साल का आपका टर्नओवर है, तो आपका 3 टाइम और 4 टाइम ऑफ दी टर्नओवर विल गेट द वैल्यूएशन। सो एवरी इंडस्ट्री हैज डिफरेंट बेंचमार्क, डिफरेंट एरियाज ऑफ कंसर्न्स फॉर द वैल्यूएशन, So I'll always say valuation is an art actually. It's not, it cannot be defined on the paper actually. So whatever valuation you are taking to the investors, it's a benchmark, but practically whatever will be decided, it will be decided between you and the investor actually. So देखिए डेट जो है ना, डेट में क्या होता है कि आपको इंटरेस्ट पे करना है उनको मंथली क्वार्टरली, और डेट का एक सर्टेन पीरियड इसका रिटर्न भी करना है आपको। तो अगर आपको लगता है कि आपके बिजनेस में आप इंटरेस्ट पे कर सकते हो अपने इन्वेस्टर को, तो आपको डेट लेना चाहिए। आपके कैश फ्लो में अगर वो डेट का रिपेमेंट कैपेसिटी है आपके पास। डेट में और भी चैलेंजेस हैं, क्योंकि जनरली जो बीसी फंड्स होते हैं वो डेट में दे आर नॉट इंटरेस्टेड एक्चुअली। बैंक्स हैं, बैंक्स डेट जो देते हैं दे हैव क्राइटेरिया कि आपका कोई कोलेटरल सिक्योरिटी होना चाहिए, ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड होना चाहिए। तो डेट इंडिया में विल नॉट गेट डेट इनिशियली व्हेन यू आर स्टार्टिंग बिजनेस एक्चुअली। गवर्नमेंट की सर्टेन स्कीम्स हैं जहाँ पे कि वो गवर्नमेंट गारंटी करती है कुछ बैंकों को कि आप इतना पैसा 2 करोड़ रुपए तक का एक मैक्सिमम वो है कि 2 करोड़ तक का आप एक स्टार्टअप को, एमएसएमई को पैसा दे सकते हो विदाउट कोलेटरल। बट उसके लिए भी आपको कुछ, यू हैव टू हैव सम प्रोग्रेस इन योर बिजनेस एक्चुअली। So debt is always interest bearing. Equity, definitely equity is always costly than debt actually. Debt आपको you may get at 10, 12, 15% rate of interest. Equity में जो investor expectation है रिटर्न का वो 20% से ऊपर का ही होता है. But only thing is that you are not giving payout on monthly or quarterly or yearly basis to the investor for your equity investment actually. Depend on your business plan. आपका एक फंडिंग रिक्वायरमेंट कितना है बिजनेस में, उसके बेसिस पे आपको यू हैव टू डिसाइड कि आपको सपोज आपका एक वैल्यूएशन बन रहा है 100 करोड़ रुपए का आपके बिजनेस का, और आपको 25 करोड़ रुपए का फंडिंग चाहिए, तो आपको 25% इक्विटी डाइल्यूट करना ही पड़ेगा। बट आई ऑलवेज सजेस्ट कि आप इनिशियली आप चाहे पैसा थोड़ा कम रेज कीजिएगा, डाइल्यूशन बहुत ज्यादा मत कीजिए। सो एट द फर्स्ट स्टेज between 10 to 25% of dilution when you are going to the institutional investor. When you are going to angel investor and all, 10% से ज्यादा नहीं करना चाहिए. So that should be kept in mind actually, क्योंकि angel investor आपका starting point है, it's not end actually. आप जब BC फंड के बाद जाएंगे, अगर आपने 25-30% वहीं डाइल्यूट कर दिया, 25-30% और आप BC को डाइल्यूट करते हैं, तो आपका 50-60% इज डाइल्यूटेड एक्चुअली। फिर आपके हाथ में जब आपको PE फंड के बाद जाएंगे तो आपके पास कुछ नहीं बचेगा। So we have to keep all these things in mind. तो एडवांटेज जैसा अभी आई थिंक ऑलरेडी टोल्ड कि ये लोन नहीं है, इसमें आपको EMI पे नहीं करना। दूसरा, इसमें डाउन टर्न फेजेज में भी आपको इक्विटी में कोई रिस्क नहीं होता डिफॉल्ट का एक्चुअली। डेट में आपका अगर डिफॉल्ट कर दिया आपने तो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ चैलेंजेस। सो एक और चीज है कि बहुत सी बार लोगों को पैसा इन्वेस्टर्स की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं होती है, बट आई हैव सीन इन मेनी केसेस पीपल हैव रेज मनी बिकॉज द इन्वेस्टर्स आर हेल्पिंग देम इन मेनी वेज एक्चुअली। They are helping you in getting the new markets, getting you corrected in your business models, and they'll help you in organizing of your processes and systems, जहाँ पे कि आपको team build up करना है या आपको processes अपने strong करने हैं. So they are helping you in these ways actually. So there are many synergies are there with the investors, जहाँ पे कि तो प्रैक्टिकली दे आर पार्टनर इन योर बिजनेस एक्चुअली। कोई भी आपके बिजनेस में अगर किसी ने लाख रुपए भी लगा दिए तो उसको डेली यही होगा कि भाई ये लाख रुपए मेरे कब 1.25 लाख होंगे, 1.5 लाख होंगे, तो ही विल ऑलवेज थिंक फॉर योर ग्रोथ एक्चुअली। सो डोंट टेक इट कि इन्वेस्टर्स आर जस्ट फॉर टेकिंग द रिटर्न फ्रॉम अस, दे आर ऑल्सो हेल्पिंग इन योर बिजनेस। यू कैन रेज फॉलो अप फंडिंग आफ्टर दैट। Yeah, I think I've already discussed these points. If you have anything which you want to understand, I can discuss. So most of the cases में जहाँ इन्वेस्टर्स को थोड़ा चैलेंजेस आते हैं वो कहीं रिकॉर्ड कीपिंग अगर आपका ठीक नहीं है, आपका मतलब जो अकाउंटिंग है वो it's not transparent. ओनरशिप में बहुत सी बार बहुत जो फाउंडर्स हैं बहुत रिजिड होते हैं कि भाई मेरे को डायल्यूट ही नहीं करना, 10% ही करना है, 5% ही करना है, तो वहाँ भी चैलेंजेस आते हैं। कहीं कुछ स्टार्टअप्स में हमने देखा कि पर्सनल एक्सपेंसेस भी बिजनेस में बुक होते हैं, तो वो भी वी शुड अवॉइड एक्चुअली दीज थिंग्स सिंस डे वन, कि जो आपके पर्सनल एक्सपेंसेज हैं शुड ऑलवेज भी, क्योंकि ड्यू डिलीजेंस में ये सारी चीजें निकल के आती हैं। बहुत सी बार अब ये भी होता है कि आपने एक वैल्यूएशन हमने एग्री किया बेस्ड ऑन दी बिजनेस प्लान एंड ऑल, जब ड्यू डिलीजेंस हुआ तो बिजनेस का जो वैल्यूएशन है आपका जो भी एग्री किया उसका 50% और 60% तक भी हो जाता है, वो वैल्यूएशन डाउन हो जाता है बिकॉज ऑफ दीज थिंग्स। बहुत सी बार डील आपकी क्लोज भी नहीं हो पाती है और डील फेल हो जाती है बिकॉज ऑफ ड्यू डिलीजेंस, कि आपका रिकॉर्ड ठीक नहीं है, आपकी ट्रांसपेरेंसी नहीं है, आपने पर्सनल एक्सपेंसेज को बुक किया है। सो देयर आर दीज थिंग्स वी शुड बी वेरी क्लियर इन अवर माइंड कि जब हम इन्वेस्टर्स के साथ डील कर रहे हैं तो ये सब चीजें हमारे डे वन से ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में कीप इट क्लीन। आई थिंक इट विल बी हेल्पफुल टू यू इन द लॉन्गर रन एक्चुअली। So I think challenges also we have discussed. This is one of the opportunity from the government of India. SRI fund has been launched by the government of India, where they are giving money to the funds for investing in the startups and MSMEs. So this is all from my side. If you have any question, then I'll be happy to take it. Yeah, please. Thank you.
These kind of experiences are actually very negative about India. But I want to take this. I think you also need to understand, and I think you do as one of the leaders of the that there is a huge that can be taken, and that actually prominent promoter on doing business in Japan. So one needs to be very, very sensitive to fact that because, but I think some more working to say, stability, one thinker, because please understand funds have got deep pockets. You cannot run away taking this. There is some marketing, they have a legal team. So I think this
it's a good suggestion. I agree with you. So Saraj, I think rightly told, because of these things, sometimes one is that you can get the deal, I think failure, deal could not be done, but there are certain other repercussions are also there, where there can be prosecution also, penalties are there from the government, from various department. So we should always be careful that any kind of non-transparency or the areas where the penalties and prosecutions are there, like keeping the statutory records and all, which you are not keeping, and like GST and all, where you are not submitting on time, or the PF and all these things, it might create a lot of problem to you also as founder. So just for doing the business and growing the business, just the latest example is Go Mechanic. I think you must have read in the newspaper, all of you. There, where the investor have invested money actually, and I think almost all the money lost actually. So the investors are also now very, very, very careful. कि कभी कोई investment करना है, so they want to see all this data. They want this commitment from the founders कि there should not be anything hanky-panky in the organization. Otherwise, it might create a problem in getting the funding, or maybe some kind of penalties and prosecutions to the founders also. So we should be very, very careful. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for a very detailed presentation. And I think a lot of questions will come up more, which we can take offline. And a big thank you to all the students and all the startups who've been part of our two-day program. Please give a big round of applause for yourself as well. And I'd like to request the faculty of NDIIT to please come and take their certificate from Mr. Ashish Agarwal, if I could request him to please. NDIIT? So. Faculty of Rukmini Devi Institute. And a big thank you to Mr. Ashish Agarwal also from our side, sir. A small request, if I could request all of you to please make a trip to Modi Hall where the stalls are there. So there are a lot of nice startups and good products that they're showcasing. Please do visit them before lunch and then join us for lunch outside. And
You can take my number. You can call me
yeah.
anytime, in WhatsApp me and then I'll reply you. 9873034100. My name is Ashish Agarwal. Thank you.
And you can also write to the chamber so we can pass on your questions to sir. And then he can respond as well. So please do visit the stalls and we can catch sir offline if he has some time. So thank you very much and we'll see you in our next edition. Thank you so much. If the students want to take their photograph on the stage, they're more than welcome.
अब तो बिजी हो गया नंबर। सब कुछ करके सबसे पीछे रहना है क्या? आओ ना फोटो में इंतजार कर रहे हैं। हाँ जल्दी आओ। चलो आओ नीचे आगे आओ। सीट पर तुम तो टेबल पे खड़े हो। तुम जरूरत नहीं है। तुम टेबल पे खड़े हो। मोदी जी से जल्दी आ। तुम बीच में खड़े हो। आप सबका शुक्रिया।